Steam Next Fest has become one of the most important events for indie developers, especially now with platforms like the Game Awards continuing to showcase a heightened sense of unprofessionalism with each passing joke of a year. Most indie developers don't have large marketing budgets, so events like these are heavily beneficial for promotion. With thousands of demos available, including ones pushed by major publishers and media outlets, it's getting very hard for titles to stand out from the crowd, as most are constantly being overshadowed. The trending tab is often dominated by games with big advertising budgets, making it very easy for promising gems to get buried and forgotten. Many players rarely venture beyond the front page, and as a result, most of the creative works end up being overlooked, sadly. This is where I step in. I do my best to sift through as many titles manually as possible, uncovering unique and noteworthy games that deserve your attention. This means reading hundreds of emails in the month leading up to the event, scrolling through thousands of listings daily, taking community recommendations, and personally playing each and every game to completion or until I get what it's all about. For me, first impressions matter, and I try to explain clearly why each selected title caught my attention instead of putting in zero effort. My goal is to highlight each game's features and potential, not just the superficial polish, regardless of the genre. Please keep in mind that I am just one person. It's next to impossible to cover everything, but each showcase pushes me to aim for better coverage and, of course, higher quality. I'm always open to feedback on how to improve the next time around, so thank you for being a part of that process. I'm not being compensated in any way. I'm just happy to help showcase my hobby and passion for finding new and exciting titles and to showcase their magic. This will not be an in-depth review. It's more of a highlight showcasing reel with a tiny bit of commentary for each game listed. This is mostly because the demos only offered 5 to 30 minutes of gameplay and were not final builds. So without wasting any more of your time with filler or fluff, let's jump right into the Summer Steam Next Fest Feature Showcase of 2025. Absolum was a great roguelike. While I didn't find much depth in the builds in its current state, I've been loving the resurgence of co-op gameplay in recent months. The animations? Fantastic, and there's a great consistency between the in-game and UI elements, which is not something you often see. I'd say it's well worth picking up for yourself and a friend if you've been looking for a new cooperative game to mess around with that features good story, action, and voice acting. Taking inspiration from the visual style and energy found in the latest community action RPG known as Atlas, AeroMachina proved to be a pleasant surprise. It perfectly encapsulates itself into the retro feel of gaming, channeling the essence of classics like Winback, Metal Gear Solid, and even GoldenEye. From its pixelated art style and smooth controls to its immersive atmosphere, the game blends in multiple elements like platforming and Metroidvania with precision. The demo introduced the key characters, villains, and core mechanics, offering a strong entry point into the world of AeroMachina. It was easily one of the strongest titles on this list.
世人皆寻仙，仙却在眼前，挥镜而自是，入极境中仙。欢迎来到仙境。
Initially, I didn't have high expectations for Ailia, but approaching it with an open mind offered a pleasant surprise. The puzzle mechanics, which involve using a mirror and your alternative self in the mirror realm to reflect and alter the world around you, was very impressive. The gameplay struck a balance. It wasn't so simple that it felt tedious or so complicated that it became frustrating. The reverse dialogue through the mirror and the need to learn new patterns to advance added a clever and engaging layer to the experience. Overall, from a design perspective, Ailia provided an excellent and surreal look into puzzle adventures. Another game about clicking is as basic as the title suggests. Like many other games, you manage a farm, but this one features a much more aesthetically pleasing design. The gameplay loop starts with clicking on pets until you unlock auto-clicking, gradually transforming it into a fully automated idler game. After that, you check in occasionally to upgrade your animals and purchase increasingly expensive tiers of creatures. While it doesn't sound like there's a lot of depth to the game, there's something oddly satisfying about watching the numbers climb indefinitely. That's the appeal of idler games that provide just enough stimulation to feel rewarding without requiring full attention or engagement. It wouldn't be Steam Next Fest without a collection of action roguelikes. Despite its limited demo, Apex Automata showcased many of the basic elements we expect from the genre. I found it enjoyable, although it was capped at level 20 and I did experience some bugs with the placement of trees and ledges that prevented enemies from moving past them. I had difficulty deciding whether it would be worth purchasing upon its full release. If there are additional levels, stages, difficulty modifiers, more characters, and an endless mode, I would consider it a game worth exploring further. This was because the sound effects alone were satisfying for my ADHD adult mind. What stood out the most about Artis Impact is the immediate introduction of a tall, slender woman as a main character, set within its pixelated top-down, turn-based JRPG aesthetic. It made me realize that there is a noticeable lack of tall women as playable protagonists in video games. The game was one of the biggest highlights. The animation, the attention to detail, the humor, and personality glimmered through every aspect. Be that the combat that spills into the third dimension to the novel-like storytelling, this game deserves a spot on your wishlist. You're not going to want to miss out on Akane's journey through the world filled with clever details that will leave you smiling and admiring all of the little things. Ascent to Zero feels like a deliberate spin on those annoying mobile ad games that you know of, the ones where you start off as a level 1 crook and make your way to become a level 100 boss, where your goal is to kill low-level enemies to gradually climb higher. But here it's taken up a notch with a tight time limit, making speed essential. You'll need to put in multiple hours of grinding to gather better gear for each boss fight, all to ascend through the levels. If I had to make a comparison, I would have to choose Half-Minute Hero with the whole time manipulation mechanics and a variety of build options as you tear through each room in an effort to reverse the calamity that has ended the whole world. While I did find it fun, the grind does become apparent. It's great for short sessions when you've got nothing else to do. Playing through Astra Village, I didn't expect much. I was drawn in by the appealing game presentation. As I delved deeper into the gameplay, it began to resemble the surreal and comedic world of Pop Team Epic, if you're familiar with that quirky anime featuring the potato-shaped characters. The game is a farming simulator of sorts, incorporating resource gathering, crafting, and hidden secrets as you work to restore your grandmother's legacy as an innkeeper following her passing. Given that my own grandmother recently passed away, this personal connection made the game resonate with me more strongly. The presentation alone should be enough to lure you through its front doors for a few hours. Away From Home immediately impressed me. The trailer alone made me eager to dive into the content. With solid music, surreal visuals, quirky colorful characters, rhythm-timed gameplay, and tons of minigames and crazy moments, it offered a unique experience. The animations, the character, the dialogue, and world all vibe together beautifully. It's definitely worth exploring once it releases in October.
Nate, buddy, family meeting, let's go.
Nate, if you can hear my voice, I want you to come up here. We're having a family meeting. What the hell?
At first, I wasn't very interested in baby steps because I don't understand the thrill or excitement of rage games, games that are purposely designed to frustrate you and make you want to punch something. especially after wasting an entire day trying to reach the top of something only to receive a middle finger in return. Surprisingly, it wasn't frustrating, nor did it aim to be a condescending experience like some others do. Each failure will lead to a hilarious interaction, and every piece of dialogue is delightfully awkward and silly.
Oh, can you not?
With my, sorry,
With your
just
foot?
using my...
Yeah, you tried to catch it.
I saw it was starting to go, and I just tried to...
You just kicked. You thought I'll give it a good kick to counteract the fall. See you later.
There's something here that balances out the gameplay, ensuring it doesn't become infuriating or too easy to get bored with. In short, as somebody who hates games like Getting Over It and so on, I had a lot of fun with Baby Steps, and I think you will too.
Balbalon has fallen. A pit is all that remains. Rebuild Balbalon. BallxPit.
It's finally here. The next big title in the action roguelike bullet hell genre combines classic Breakout or Brick Breaker style gameplay with neat elements such as base building and tense, challenging bosses. Explore the depths of Balbalon, which sounds like the name of a place taken straight out of South Park, where you can expand your builds, heroes, skills, bases, and resources to face even greater challenges. What makes the gameplay particularly exciting is the fusion and synergies that keep you invested no matter how many runs you take on. With a large horde of enemies approaching slowly from the north, your goal is to avoid their projectiles while setting up incredible combos and bounces with your build to survive long enough to defeat each boss. Each defeated enemy drops EXP and loot for you to increase your powers. It doesn't get any more simple or interesting than this. It's the type of game that you really need to play to fully appreciate the joy that it offers. I always enjoyed Hearthstone, not for its PvP content, but for its PvE modes that offered more creative ways to engage with the game itself. Become the Moon manages to capture that feeling, but with a more expanded on and elegantly challenging twist. You have just one turn to defeat each stage, building your roguelike deck along the way with relics and spells. After each battle, you and any surviving units that you've placed down face off against the enemy hero. This loop continues until you eventually fail. If you're into Hearthstone or similar deck builders, this one is definitely worth giving a chance.
Nothing can be seen, and the air will be wetted with pestilence. And whatever you do, I can help you.
Besmirch was an interesting blend of RPG farming simulator mechanics with survival horror that managed to keep me engaged. The distinctive color palette and the visual storytelling greatly enhanced the atmosphere as the narrative unfolded. Given that it is solo developed, it's evident that a lot of care and passion went into its creation despite several of its technical issues. These are, after all, common in the broader context of indie games. Every day you'll gather materials, explore your surroundings, and strive to earn currency and resources to defend yourself against a horde of horrors that will come to tear you limb from limb on the escalating nights. While the game is minimalistic and could benefit from a few visual updates to make the tools and weapons more readable and distinct, it does offer an interesting take on farming and survival horror concepts. If you're familiar with a game from a few years ago called 5D Chess with multiverse time travel, consider checking out Beyond the Board. This clever puzzler allows you to control a rook as you face off against other chess pieces by solving unique puzzles. Instead of defeating them, you strategically need to check them. Throughout the game, you'll climb walls, rotate through dimensions, and engage in boss fights, exploring distinct worlds and uncovering hidden features that weren't available in the demo. The demo showcased fascinating challenges that prompted thoughtful planning. I'm very interested in how the developers will expand the game with their future installments, as it can only get more intriguing from here on out. I don't usually gravitate towards open-world survival crafting games. It usually needs something special to capture my interest, since I'm not particularly creative. However, Beyond the Map stood out by combining open-world survival elements with a top-down ARPG style reminiscent of Diablo, which did keep me engaged. In this game, you start on a procedurally generated island where you build a base, gear up, fight enemies, level up, and survive to earn better loot, skills, and powers, allowing you to grow stronger. While it wasn't perfect, the ARPG elements provided a compelling sense of progression that motivated me to keep advancing, despite my usual reservations about survival games.
How am I gonna get home?
Big Hops is a game that will grab your attention, featuring character designs by Steven Sugar that embody the unique and high-quality charm of Cartoon Network animations. You might recognize his work from acclaimed shows like Steven Universe and also The Owl House. More importantly, the game excels in its platforming mechanics and the undeniable charm that it brings to the genre. With strong voice acting, solid gameplay, and perspective-shifting mechanics reminiscent of Super Mario Galaxy, Big Hops feels both nostalgic and also fresh. Be sure to support them on Kickstarter. The demo leaves a strong first impression as players follow Hop on his journey to return home to his sister after being kidnapped by a trickster spirit. What was showcased here hints at something special, filled with personality, charm, and also significant visual potential. The last game that I played that was similar to Bloodgrounds was The Last Spell, a tower defense turn-based tactical game inspired by Dungeons & Dragons. Bloodgrounds has a similar feel, but instead of focusing on tower defense, it features a gladiatory arena. In this game, you recruit new gladiators, equip them with gear, level them up, and challenge opponents in the lower tiers as you strive for glory and victory, climbing through the ranks while upgrading your Roman Empire in the process. There is plenty to keep you engaged with various mechanics, spells, and challenging encounters. As you ascend the tiers, it's very important to be careful. If you lose, the game does feature permadeath mechanics, meaning you will have to start over from the very beginning. This feature might deter some players, but visually the game is appealing, so it really isn't that big of a deal, so long as you've been stockpiling some resources and also some extra gear. Anime, strategy, gacha elements, and party-based mechanics. What more could you ask for in a challenging and engaging game? In Breakshot Hero, you progress through stages that you can replay as many times as you desire to collect Gachapon capsule heroes. Each hero has a percentage chance of dropping on how much currency you spend and how many enemies were previously in that stage. As you advance through the game, your chances of obtaining better heroes improve, unlocking more powerful allies like cats, rats, and other various less significant human characters. Each character offers unique effects and modifiers that enhance as you collect additional copies to fuse them for more improved stats. Collect, level them up, increase the difficulty, and enjoy the experience. The game is planned to support co-op gameplay, but is completely enjoyable as a single-player experience. I love what I saw, and I cannot wait to explore more of what it will offer with the full release alongside friends. I know a lot of people deeply invested in games like Gunfire Reborn, which is what first caught my attention when I saw the trailer for Brew. While it is an early demo and the gameplay feels a bit rough around the edges, what was available was genuinely fun and engaging. I've shared it with friends who've played Gunfire Reborn for well over 600 hours, and their feedback was just as positive. What stood out the most to me was the diverse cast of characters. It's rare to see hyenas featured in games, and when they are usually just side background characters. The core concepts felt familiar. Third-person action, where alchemy and potion crafting played a key role in modifying your weapons, enhancing your abilities, and dealing with all of the enemies. You take on the role of somebody who has failed the Academy entrance exams more times than is worth mentioning, and out of pity, you get a direct sponsor. Now you work to improve yourself by unlocking talents and discovering powerful combos. There is clear potential here, and I hope that the game continues to grow leading up to its release. The only real downsides is that it is currently planned as a single-player game, but that is not a deal-breaker. I'd also love to see an option to change the font face in the settings because it is a little bit hard to read. For many, Sonic Adventure 2 does not invoke nostalgia, but instead a distaste for the Sonic franchise. CapriCare draws clear inspirations from the Chow's Garden minigame. It focuses on caring for creatures called Capri in a cozy, laid-back environment. Here you will raise their stats to improve their rank and performance in various minigames, which reward you with trophies that unlock more content and more incentives. You can breed the Capri, watch them interact in charming ways, and see their form shift based on the stats that they develop. It's the type of pure passion project made to rekindle that niche sense of nostalgia. This was quite apparent while interacting with the developer directly and their significant other. This alone gives a reason to check out CapriCare despite how it looks. If you have any interest in Sonic, it could very well be a game to follow for future improvements. It's also a solo-developed project, so there are many things needed to improve the experience.
Out here, things move a little slower. Morning fog hanging low. Geese flapping off like they own the place. Fishing's got its own rhythm. Haul her in, head back to the dock, and see what your catch is worth. Well, that's me, by the way. I got rods, lures, boats. Heck, I'll even sell you a thermos if your hands get chilly. When you're ready, head back out. Cast your line. Chill a while.
Take the visual elements of a series like Kingdom 2 Crowns, strip away the gameplay, and turn it into a relaxing fishing minigame with incremental mechanics. And what you're left with is a game called Cast and Chill. It's a calming idler experience where you spend your days fishing away, upgrading your gear, and enjoying the serene landscapes. The only thing that I would have loved to hear more of was the ambient background music, which only played while reeling in a fish or paddling the boat. Aside from that, I found it to be a great experience. At first glance, it's blatantly clear what stands out about Cattos' post office. Designed with cat lovers and cozy gamers in mind, the game follows a little cat on his birthday as he wakes up for his daily task, delivering mail to the town's residents and lending a paw wherever he is needed. The quirky characters and silly kitty dialogue help it land perfectly in the realm of casual gamers. Meow through the streets, meet the neighbors, and just relax in the life of Catto one parcel at a time. Not a whole lot of simulators manage to captivate as much as Spirit City Lofi Sessions does, but I can say with certainty that Chill With You Lofi Story could be on the right path, allowing you to customize your own white noise environment while setting up goals as the girl within the game acts as your personal assistant to make sure you're still going at it while revealing her own story to you over time and how speaking to you helps her get over her own anxieties. The only problem that I noticed was the ability to just spam the to-do list to unlock everything in the demo within 10 minutes. So that may want to be fixed. It's still a very difficult undertaking to compete with such a beloved simulator like Spirit City.
Design your own army. Conquer every circle. Destroy your foes. Encircle empires too.
I've played games similar to Circle Empires in the past. It's a genre that builds momentum as you gradually and swiftly expand your armies and resources to tackle enemies coming from all sides. The more planes that you obtain, the more your resources grow, and the more resources that you obtain, the more you can push your armies into enemy territories to conquer them. That about sums up the game. It's quite fun for those who enjoy the thrill of action RTS games. It's enjoyable in short bursts, although I still think this style is better suited as a mobile game. If you're a fan of the Case of the Golden Idol, you'll be pleased to know that one of its writers and designers contributed to City of Voices, a mysterious detective game that strips away all hand-holding elements, leaving you to piece together the story all on your own. Every encounter demands that you carefully examine the information and use all available visual clues to form a clear, cohesive understanding of what happened to complete each stage. While it was very short and minimal in its depth, piecing together the information felt genuinely rewarding, like stepping into the role of a real detective. This genre often struggles with clues that are either too obscure or painfully obvious, which can break immersion, but City of Voices strikes the satisfying balance that keeps the experience both engaging and also meaningful. While I personally cannot relate to the experience of body dysphoria, Consume Me felt surprisingly engaging, silly, wacky, and oddly pleasant. It's a life simulator about growing up feeling stupid, fat, lazy, and also ugly, delivered through a mix of dark comedy and narrative choices that appear to shape the story. You'll live out the developer's life week by week, managing schedules, dieting plans, and a variety of minigames that help maintain focus on schoolwork, health, and overall sanity while trying to keep up with your dieting plans. The developers clearly treated the subject matter seriously as noted in their advisory, so that's worth keeping in mind. Despite the heavy themes, I found it fun and refreshingly absurd. Constance felt like a Metroidvania created by a struggling artist battling severe artist block, which gradually started to eat away at their ability to pursue their love of art. In this hand-drawn platformer somewhat inspired by Hollow Knight, you play as an artist trying to escape a world of decay using her painting skills. The game is enjoyable to play, visually stunning, and has a pleasant overall atmosphere. Unlike Hollow Knight and every other game in the genre, it takes on a more forgiving approach. No matter how many times you lose, you can choose to restart nearby with a debuff or a shrine further away, which is excellent for players looking for a more casual experience without feeling like a massive waste of your time. I'm not usually a fan of Dark Souls games. I don't have anything against the genre, but I often find them very repetitive. Crimson Cape stood out due to its unique animations and striking visual aesthetic. The game combines challenging boss fights, a variety of character archetypes, and a satisfying range of skills and combo effects, allowing players to parry, dodge, and defeat every enemy in its 2D pixelated action RPG, which also features online PvP. The controls do take some time to get used to, but once it clicks, the game truly comes to life. Whether you're in the mood for a single-player experience or some good old-fashioned couch co-op, Critter Crossfire is sure to brighten your day. What stood out the most is its blend of tactical grid-based strategy with upgrades, weapons, and more. It strangely felt like a mixture of Worms Armageddon, each turn shifting to a first-person view, requiring you to aim with consideration, with bullet drop and explosive effects. The reactions from each animal, whether narrowly dodging damage or getting one shot, are genuinely hilarious. While it can be frustrating to miss a grenade toss or a long-range shot, the payoff when you do hit one is wildly satisfying, oftentimes leaving you in disbelief that the shot landed and paid off in the end. Danchi Days is a notable game which strikes a casual and wholesome tone while also addressing both humorous and deeply sad themes. The story revolves around two siblings and their grandmother, enjoying youth while grappling with the challenges of aging, particularly with the effects of the incurable illness known as dementia. As one gives up, the other sibling is determined to make a difference by bringing the whole community together to help relive their grandmother's youth. This is because she once served as the town's festival leader, a festival that has been long forgotten. The longer that I played, the more attached I became to the characters, not only because of the themes, but also due to the gameplay, which feels reminiscent of a classic Game Boy Advance title. Similar to the previous game mentioned, it resonated deeply with me because I recently experienced my first loss, which was my grandmother, a significant event considering the game features the topic.
Love can be hard to find. Open your eyes to an exciting new reality and date everything.
Sup, baby? That's a fantastic red shirt you've got.
Explore romantic freedom with everything in your house. Fall in love with 100 dateable characters. An interconnected world where you can date your way. Unlock multiple endings that you can replay, share, and fall in love with again and again.
You've never experienced anything like it. And you know, you'll never be the same again.
Dating simulators are a niche genre that does not appeal to everyone. It typically attracts a specific group of players, particularly with anime games like Love in Deep Space. However, when a truly good one emerges, it can offer a lot of charm and significantly reduce the cringe factor. Date Everything captivated me with its engaging narratives, which allows players to explore a house and interact with various full voice-acted objects filled with personality. The ability to treat characters in any way that I chose, whether positively or negatively, provided the type of choose-your-own-adventure narrative that I love, complete creative control. The game is full of sass and charm, featuring 100 fully voice-acted characters. No matter who you are, you're bound to experience both enjoyment and disdain towards each and every one of them.
It doesn't mean you can do whatever you please, Jones, but I'm the brains of this operation. Who's the greatest pirate of them all? That's right, Captain Davy and Jones. What, you think we need one more? You think we need one more? We'll get one more.
Nothing sells a concept to me more than a pirate tale rich in storytelling, with fantastic voice acting, immersive atmosphere, and spectacular gameplay when the animation transitions don't feel too rustic. DavyxJones puts you into the shoes of Davy Jones himself, or rather his body, filled with action-packed carnage and his charismatic head that seems to have a new personality of its own. The biggest selling point here is undoubtedly the story. However, the cinematics, designs, and animation could for sure use some more refinement to avoid feeling stiff and stale. If you're in the market for a seafaring story, this is definitely the game to wishlist. Kicking ass to the beat of popular licensed tracks and your own imported music has never felt so good in a rhythm game like Dead as Disco. It's as if Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes finally got his act together in a less violent and more stylish way, beating down his enemies to a 200 BPM track on double time. The music, the combos, and the high scores were all sublime, leaving me wanting more of this game and of course left me craving more rhythm-based gameplay that can continue to evolve. Whether it's the story, the cinematic boss fights, or the endless mode, this is a game you have to experience at least once to appreciate how good it truly is. We don't need to see another attempt on Hi-Fi Rush. We need talented developers like this to keep the genre pushing forward. Dear My Friend is a visual spectacle at times, thanks to its striking transitions between close-up 16-bit gameplay and the more expansive top-down perspectives. This visual quality noticeably deteriorates during these zoomed-out moments, making it very easy to lose track of your character's position. Additionally, there are game-breaking bugs, which are understandable in a demo, as well as persistent translation issues and missing localization. As a result, the overall experience feels unpolished and far from ready for a full release. That said, the game remains impressive despite its flaws, showcasing the potential of an RPG across multiple aspects, not just in-game and storytelling, but also in its creative ambition. I'm excited to see where it goes. Its visual direction alone reflects the deep passion behind the project, which is terrific to see in a realm of overpriced RPGs with little substance. I'm not exactly sure what is with these Russian visual novels that have been popping up since the last Steam Next Fest, but it has kept me on the edge of my seat with their dark, choice-driven, story-rich dialogue and huge cliffhangers that have kept me craving more. Deep Pixel Melancholy follows a man stuck in a time loop, unable to break free as he lives the same day over and over, working 9 to 5 and struggling to pay bills to afford rent. That realistic portrayal of everyday struggles is likely what makes it so engaging for me, resonating with the challenges many of us face in today's society. The art style is fantastic, and the atmosphere is top-notch, designed to keep your attention and draw you in ever closer. Deep Space Exploitation offers a challenging mining experience. If you enjoy the minimalistic physics-based mining games where you navigate through levels to collect as many resources as possible in a space-themed environment, then this game is for you. You have to manage limited supplies and adhere to a time limit, playing strategically to follow the rules, otherwise you risk losing significant amounts of currency and also facing bankruptcy. Utilizing your ship upgrades and tools, along with their pros and cons, was truly enjoyable. I was quite impressed and proud of Item 42 Studios, the two-person team behind the upcoming game Deficit. The quality of the game is exceptional, almost surprisingly so considering how little we see out of the big teams with details. While it does have its issues, what I experienced felt reminiscent to playing through Deus Ex Machina or even System Shock, a feeling that is not easily replicated. The game is immersive, atmospheric, and genuinely fun to play. If you enjoy shooters from the past, I highly recommend Deficit, as it feels like a modern take full of undeniable passion. I always enjoy action roguelikes that combine solid gameplay with a rhythm-based aesthetic, and also great music. In Devil Jam, you can choose upgrades, rotate your skills, and apply area of effect buffs and passives to enhance your abilities as you strive to survive as long as possible. Although it could have benefited from a stronger emphasis on the rhythm aspect, it's already quite close to achieving that. I could see myself playing for hours with just a little bit more refinement. You automatically attack to the beat, and enemies also move in sync with the music. Sync your actions with the music and timing your skills to achieve victory. Strategy, romance, and RPG elements form the core of Dice Gambit. Its design is highly stylized, some might even call it strange, but it fits the tactical gameplay in a unique way. You'll build up a lineage of eccentric nobles, with each death passing the torch to a new heir from your procedurally generated family. With a wide variety of classes, skills, modifiers, and upgrades available in every run, there's plenty here to keep your attention. Combat revolves around a dice roll system. Roll enough specific types and you can unleash powerful abilities, defend, move, or even apply buffs. Marry eligible bachelors, combine powers, and push forward in the name of your family's legacy.
You're Mecha Man. You're dead, I thought.
This on the inside. You want me to sit in an office and dispatch heroes?
Too easy.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Was that your car?
Wait.
It's been 13 years since the world experienced the impact of the once popular studio Telltale Games. Titles such as The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, and The Tales of the Borderlands were phenomenal choices, delivering visual narratives that captivated players with moral dilemmas and emotional challenges. I was more surprised than ever to see Dispatch was participating in Steam Next Fest with its demo, which was released just a few weeks earlier. The humor, the visuals, the story, and the characters felt refreshing and also very nostalgic. Seeing a group of talented writers and designers from a now defunct studio come together to deliver more high-quality entertainment was exciting. The game includes appearances with Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, and other popular figures such as Joel Haver. It stands out as one of the best titles in this entire showcase. The premise of Dispatch is that you are a former hero who was defeated and also lost his suit, known as Mecha Man. To get his suit repaired, you need to work at a dispatch center for superheroes. Your job involves making choices that will create problems or more opportunities in the future. With the direct connections and a bird's eye view of all of the situations and multiple choices, think of it as being like a 911 operator, but for heroes. It's a hilarious, fantastic concept with a lot of underlying story and also depth. Dome RPG came out of nowhere. At first, it felt like a mixture of Earthbound with clowns, which I'm not particularly fond of. However, as I continued to play, the game did grow on me. It follows a mute boy who is lost in a strange world filled with quirky and interesting characters, all presented in a retro pixel art style, complete with an abundance of unique colors and also clowns. The combat is smooth and can be fast-paced if you prefer that style, and the music is equally engaging. While the game started a bit slowly, I'm excited to see where the full release takes it, which is scheduled for 2026. It's not very often that we encounter a game that incorporates unique mechanics and fourth-wall breaking storytelling to enhance its gameplay and also narrative. When such a game appears, it often proves to be well worth the time investment, mostly due to their presentation. Downhill follows the journey of Fade, an outcast character of sorts in a world on the brink of shadows who is aware that you are in control of her body at times, which helps build a close bond between you and her. The only significant issue I noticed was the lack of challenge. You can generally restart from where you died, whether facing bosses or enemies, making the gameplay feel lackluster in its current state. Aesthetically, the game looks fantastic, showcasing impressive cinematics and engaging character dialogue boxes, which kept me playing. Since the game was in more of an alpha stage, I can overlook most of these shortcomings. I started following Easy Delivery Co. when I saw it gain popularity on Japanese social media. The design was impeccable, featuring cats in a relaxing delivery-based video game. What's not to love about that? If the promised mascot agency could establish an overwhelmingly positive niche, the same could happen here. In this game, you drive throughout the frigid mountains, taking orders from the townsfolk who need items delivered to specific locations. Some deliveries are just around the corner, while others are much further away. The goal is to complete each delivery in one piece, as the game uses real physics. Bump too much or take a corner too fast, and your cargo can fly out of the truck. The current demo felt more like a laid-back experience since losing a package doesn't come with any real consequences. It restores to its original state wherever it is dropped. As you play, you'll unlock music and other features while managing fuel and energy levels and chatting with a few local inhabitants, all at a relaxed pace. Once you've built up some confidence, why not try delivering a package with the tailgate down or even while launching through the air? There's a surprising amount of charm and experimentation here, and getting lost in the cozy chaos is quite easy. So be sure to check out Easy Delivery Co. when you've got the time. There isn't much to say about Elastars. It is a K-pop inspired rhythm game based on the YouTube channel Serials, which features a series of short animation music videos centered around the character Alligator. The demo felt more like a teaser than a playable experience, leaving little to properly evaluate. I do hope that the final product focuses more on rhythm-based mechanics instead of mundane button mashing. Additionally, it would be great if the developers replaced the generic stock sound effects, like the chomping noises, which does lower the game's overall quality. As a fan of rhythm games, I enjoyed the music tracks, but I was not impressed by the game's visual design and the sound effects. This lack of connection could be attributed to the stylistic differences, as the game is being developed by a Korean team, and their aesthetic choices might not resonate as strongly with a Western audience, and I hope that it can be improved upon throughout the initial experience. Even if a game has a strong mobile appeal, I will add it to my list as long as the gameplay is enjoyable and not mediocre. Embers of the Night is in a sense a tower defense zombie game, where you use automatic units that charge at nearby enemies with melee weapons, guns, and other powers. Each night the waves of zombies grow stronger, and you must continually upgrade your weapons, camp, and skills to survive and eventually seek out a cure through the exploration. Realistically, this game seems better suited for mobile devices rather than being played on a computer. I see the game as a bite-sized minigame meant to take up a few minutes, not the entire day. If it becomes compatible with the Steam Deck at launch, it could be a decent option while on the move. Otherwise, I would prefer to see it available on mobile platforms. I never would have expected Empty Shell to receive a sequel, considering that the original sold only around 10,000 copies and was rather niche. The premise was intriguing. Players take on the roles of volunteers sent on a mysterious recovery mission, unaware of the mission's finer details. One by one, these volunteers are thrown into the depths of deserted facilities that are overrun by grotesque creatures, all set within a procedurally generated map. The objectives are simple yet brutal: survive and gather the tools needed to delve deeper into the complex, restore the power to the facility, and then attempt to escape alive. If one of the volunteers fails, the next one takes their place, and you could possibly find their corpse in the future. What we were able to see so far with Empty Shell 2 adheres closely to the original's formula, maintaining the same core concept, familiar enemies, and similar mission structures, with only a few elements adjusted. While I am excited about the sequel, I do hope that it expands on the original by incorporating more meaningful changes. Adding different weapons, items, monsters, and bosses would greatly enhance the experience, if the difficulty could move beyond relying solely on the overpowered options like the Fireman Axe. It seems that the developers are looking for wishlists to help guide development, so if you enjoy eerie, atmospheric top-down survival games that focus on scavenging and minimalism, consider supporting it to ensure that it gets the message across to the developers. If Wordle were a math game, you would get Equate 8. Each day offers a new puzzle to solve as quickly as possible, using a tic-tac-toe style formula grid. Beyond the daily challenges, other modes like Endless Mode really put your math skills and understanding to the test. While I'm not particularly good at math myself, I know plenty of people who enjoy Wordle, so if you're looking for a fresh brain teaser with a numerical twist, Equate 8 is worth checking out. I've never been particularly interested by stealth games. While some do it well and others compensate with combat or different gameplay elements, what sets Eriksholm the Stolen Dream apart is the compelling story and narration. It offers a wonderful display of storytelling intertwined with the need to escape the chain reactions of events triggered by your brother during the impending War of Denmark. Now the entire police force is after you both, and as his sister, you can't just abandon him to his fate. You must both flee to uncover the truth of what is happening and to keep him safe. No, the inclusion of a meow button in an exploration adventure game is not what drew me to Everdeep Aurora, though it does get some extra points for that feature. It was the richly detailed, pleasantly cute, polychromatic color schemes that make everything pop and stand out with vibrant charm. Searching for the hidden kids in the mansion served as a decent, if brief, introduction to the game's mechanics. What it offers already is well done, and I'm excited to see what more comes out of the full release, so don't miss out on this little gem. There were quite a few interesting turn-based games this time around, and Fated Lands The Reckless Squad was no exception. In this game, you control a squad of heroes on a journey through a forest to uncover the mysteries surrounding the disappearances of a prince. Each run introduces new challenges, intriguing combo effects, and unique powers, allowing you to shift and alternate your character's skills and positions in both hands-on and hands-off idle gameplay. This mechanic is reminiscent of games like Darkest Dungeon, although Fated Lands does not have the same level of punishing difficulty. The music and the atmosphere of the game were fantastic. The gameplay may feel slow at first, but trust me, it does open up later on. Stick with it for a while and you'll really start to see where it shines when you start forming a squad. Enjoy a slow-paced walking simulator that features simple day-to-day tasks, such as delivering parcels in a beautifully designed world with Game Boy Advance-style visuals. In Fading Serenades, you'll slowly hike, balance, and explore an isolated island far removed from technology, taking on the role of a new postal worker. The story unfolds as you deliver packages and gradually unlock new features, revealing the quiet mysteries hidden inland. The game is ideal for those who appreciate a gradual build-up before diving into the narrative core. Overall, it was a very pleasant experience and not too overly demanding. Fellbound combines action, roguelike elements, and a vibrant visual style with a comedic RPG storyline, immersing you in the depths of an ancient temple. You'll face off against shadows, ghouls, slimes, and skeletons as you search for a princess who has unfortunately been captured, yet nobody seems to really care. As you progress through each floor, you'll collect loot, spells, equipment, and materials to enhance your arsenal and prepare for the challenges ahead. While it's a promising title, it requires some adjustments, particularly regarding the grinding, difficulty balance, and a few systems that disrupt the gameplay flow. There is significant potential here, provided that the developer continues to engage with the community and to address the concerns before the full release, as it has been doing so far. Feline Forensics, and a Meowseum with a brief but memorable showcase of what the game offers. It features a stereotypical private detective who seems incapable of doing their job yet somehow manages to solve cases through their unconventional methods. This element adds a lot of charm to the game, complemented by a modest amount of comedy as you navigate a 2D crime scene in a 3-dimensional environment. You search for clues, piece together the evidence, and solve the case. The only downside for me was the lack of challenge or consequences, since you could keep filling in the blanks until you get an answer right. It doesn't have the stakes and depth found in other choice-driven detective games that I've played. Nevertheless, I found it enjoyable because of its more casual approach to detective puzzles, and of course because of its feline theme. Speaking of feline themes, idle games for your desktop continue to pop up. This time we have Fisher's Fishing Journey. The atmosphere is delightful. The gentle sound of the water splashing as Fisher the cat reels in fish pairs perfectly with the Lofi-inspired background music. It's a wholesomely chill hands-off experience that sits comfortably in the corner of your screen as a wallpaper while you focus on other tasks. You'll find yourself checking in periodically to see what she's caught or when she's slacking off, and to purchase some new upgrades, making her become a relaxing companion throughout your day. After watching many niche titles come and go, I always feel a little bit giddy when new games start to follow trends that were once short-lived. Flickshot rogues is such a genre where your pieces on the board need to be flicked into other units. Every time a unit collides with an enemy or an ally, it activates powers, deals damage, and triggers chain combos. This interaction is what makes the strategy of this genre engaging as a whole. Early on, the stages do feel a bit slow in ramping up in difficulty, but once you reach the later levels, the challenge really starts to increase. I wouldn't mind if the game or another game down the line branched out to become a more diverse, multi-unit strategy game. If you have an interest in strategy games, it may be worth your time. The easiest way to describe Gecko Gods is to think of a game like The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, with its puzzles, open sea exploration, and the sense of curiosity and discovery. Imagine a game like that combined with a charming little gecko that can climb up walls, along with more expansive puzzle designs that avoid the complexities and simplicities found in other games. There's something very charming and relaxing about the game. It's simple yet provides a lot of enjoyment. Perhaps that's due to the vibrant yet gentle designs, or its charming dialogues from the animals. I'm not sure which one it was, but I was really disappointed when the demo ended right after I finished exploring the first island. Now I can't wait for the full release because it was quite wholesome. If you enjoy the simple things, mining for gems, refining them, and selling them to customers under a time limit with some light resource management, then Gemporium might be something to dig into. It's a very basic game where you play as a nervous mole starting each day by heading into the mines to unearth gems of varying quality. Just be careful not to damage them. You'll want to gather as many as you can before the time runs out, clean them up, and sell them at the market, ideally matching the day's gem demand for extra profit. The demo did not showcase a whole lot, and a lot of the features seemed to bug out, but if you're after something minimalistic and casual, I did find it pleasantly relaxing.
I'm Elliot. And I'm Ella. And we're happy you're here. But you can't have fun if you're not being safe. Rule number 3. If there's a hat in the park, follow the exit signs and get out. Number 6. Don't close your eyes, or you'll miss the best part.
I'm not usually a fan of mascot horror, and the ones that I do enjoy are quite rare. Jump scares just do not appeal to me. I much prefer the deeper atmospheric horror that incorporates unique elements that break the fourth wall or introduce new features not tackled by others. Giggleland offers exactly that. It's designed to mess with your head, not just through the gameplay, but also by taking control of your computer elements, which is what makes the game so terrifying. I'm interested to see what other features the game may have with its full release, aside from the few distinct screenshots of you in-game, the man stalking you, and the idea of him hijacking your computer and your friends. I find surreal horror games very intriguing. Also, I think that the mascots are very cute, which is a plus, until the community eventually sexualizes them. Gloomy Eyes feels like something from a Tim Burton collection, blending atmospheric mystery with light puzzle elements. The narrative follows Gloomy, a lonely zombie shunned by humans, and Nina, a human on a quest to restore sunlight to their darkened world, while her family, or more specifically her uncle, wishes to capture all of the zombies. While the tone is charming, the puzzles themselves felt rather generic, but the story more than made up for the short demo's experience, meaning I would love to see where this game goes in the future. Guards 2, Chaos in Hell quickly gets to the point. You command a squad of heroes in battle against the forces of Hell, strategically swapping them between the front and back rows to unleash powerful skills. These skills include area of effect attacks, stuns, heals, and shields. Your main objective is to survive wave after wave of enemies until your team is strong enough to face the final bosses. The gameplay is tactical and designed for short sessions, allowing you to enjoy it without dedicating an entire day to it. Regardless of whether you win or lose, you will earn shards and materials that can be used to enhance each hero, progressively preparing you for more challenging battles. I do hope that the full release adds a little bit more depth, but even in its current state, the game shows great promise due to its engaging design and suitability for quick pick-up and play sessions. Boss rush games are relatively rare, especially ones that capture genuine interest like Gray does. The game is phenomenal, featuring a non-linear approach to gameplay combined with permadeath mechanics. You only have one chance to defeat the list of bosses, and there are no fillers along the way, just stylish and highly engaging boss fights that you can tackle in any order. Whether you prefer starting with the hardest or the easiest, the black and white visuals contrasted with the bright colors of each bosses truly bring the game to life. And once you've acquired their powers, things really start to become more interesting and also mechanic driven. If you enjoy challenging games that test your skill, you definitely do not want to miss out on Gray. Challenge yourself by restricting the use of powers, and enjoy it in your own way.
Pra chuva cair sem parar. Meu Deus, a pessoa pode lavrar chão que nem mesmo cactos consegue brotar.
Todos precisam saber sobre o que de fato aconteceu em Canudos.
Hellclock offers a dark fantasy twist rooted in the Brazilian War of Canudos history. If you enjoy the deep, satisfying grind of ARPGs like Path of Exiles and Diablo but would prefer to skip the drawn-out lead-up to get straight to the action, then this game might be what you're looking for. With a built-in time limit or the option to turn it off for a more relaxed, mindless grind, Hellclock allows you to play your way and blast through hordes of enemies and bosses until you hit a wall and can no longer deal any damage. At that point, you will return to camp. where new upgrades, gear, and modifiers await, making your next run noticeably easier and much more rewarding. While I would have preferred a more looter-shooter approach that allows for ongoing progression and upgrades mid-run until you die, the replay value remains strong for players who do not mind charging through the same floors and content faster each time in search for more currencies and unlocks to grow even more powerful. While it does initially feel a bit linear and restrictive, it does open up a little bit further in, so I would recommend that you try to stick it out.
When the fury of emotions sparks the wildfire of violence.
Why did you come back?
I stood in the home I was born in. In that moment, I felt a connection.
You must continue.
Hellas Us made absolutely no sense to me. The introduction jumps from a man that's being helped out of a compound by his mother, who's wearing a UN-style peacekeeper outfit to escape into the forest, stumbling upon a ruin, getting attacked by some bizarre alien creatures, and then being saved by a mysterious woman, and then immediately picking up what's left of her corpse to fight off enemies, like he was built for it, all in rapid succession. It felt very disjointed and hard to follow. That aside, I have to admit that the core gameplay was oddly satisfying, somewhere between Dark Souls and God of War in feel. My biggest concern lies with the story and the overall ease of access when navigating menus. While the combat itself was very decent, everything else could use some polish before its planned release in September.
May I introduce you to Henry? Henry's not just anyone. If they're anything, they're, well, everything. How they enjoy a beautiful bubble bath, how they make their morning coffee. Get to know Henry's life story, from their carefree days as a baby until their calmer, more laid-back senior years. Double the Henry, double the fun. Play Henry's not-so-ordinary everyday life in co-op mode. Everyday life with a twist.
At first I looked at Henry Halfhead with some confusion. The trailer itself didn't really do the game any justice. Outside of having a banger soundtrack, the game came across more like a sandbox where you just mess around with whatever seems interesting, similar to the style of Goat Simulator. But after getting my hands on it, I found it genuinely fun and silly. Henry has the power to possess everything around him as his story unfolds before him, and the British narrator feels like a goofy and silly companion along the way. While the elements may not always make sense, it's entertaining and that's what matters the most. So come follow Henry on his journey throughout his unique lifestyle. I was hesitant about hurdling at first. It's a very atmospheric and casual game focused on linear exploration and puzzle discovery. The demo lacked any challenging elements, which might make it feel slow for some players. However, if you enjoy taking your time to explore and appreciate a game that features casual walking and running simulation, where you're guiding a group of creatures to safety through a beautifully empty world for the first hour, then you'll find a lot of joy in hurdling. On the other hand, if you're looking for something more rich and complex, you might find the initial slow build-up a bit boring, despite its strong introduction. Every now and then a game comes along that captures the classic vibe reminiscent of revisiting a title like Okami, whether it's the original or the HD remaster. Hirogami is one such title. By mastering the art of folding, you can transform into different origami forms in a simulated stop-motion style as you fight bosses and navigate puzzles to save a fragile world under threat. The game was downright beautiful, and I'm very interested in seeing what the full release brings to the table, as it really didn't offer a whole lot to get a real feel or taste for the game. All I need to say is Okami HD, and I'll leave you with that nostalgic comparison for reference. Clicker games often come and go, providing some of the most long-term engaging elements in video games, requiring varying levels of attention. Many continue to feel remarkably similar and lack unique features. Horripilant stood out with its distinct concept. It is an idler and a dungeon crawler merged together, offering secrets and eerie atmosphere that can draw players in for countless hours. Whether you're mindlessly clicking away or keeping the game running in the background while waiting for your resources to accumulate for the next upgrade, Horripilant knows how to keep you hooked. As you progress deeper into the dungeon, you unlock more of the gameplay and the story, making for a captivating experience. Hotel Galactic is a game for those looking to sit back and relax with some pleasant hotel simulation and time management gameplay. The characters have a charming visual style that feels reminiscent of something straight out of Studio Ghibli. While I may not be the target demographic, I know how invested many of my friends can get in games such as this. There's a lot of manual inputs, automation, and things to keep track to satisfy all of your needs. Build and manage your hotel, keep your guests happy, and expand slowly over time. Idle Boss Rush is an excellent idle game. I really enjoyed the sound effects, the constant progression, and the increasing damage. The massive HP modifiers make each new boss encounter 10 to 100 times more challenging, which keeps the game engaging. My only concern is that I would prefer to see a more offensive approach to the gameplay from the monster's perspective. It would be interesting to have some consequences for not defeating a boss quickly enough, similar to the challenge mechanics that offers bonus loot. In Idle Boss Rush, you idle while fighting bosses, earning currency, increasing your armies, enhancing your effects, improving your gear, and striving for more scaling challenges. I absolutely loved it. While the demo for Ailia A Frost Glide was short, I found it to be exceptionally relaxing. It provided a casual approach that allows you to sit back and enjoy yourself without too much worry. In this game, you'll dress up as a little witch in training and help her navigate the world to improve her magical abilities while collecting various items scattered throughout. The design, both up close and at the distance, was uniquely captivating and deeply calming. I'd have to say that it's a must-play for those who are interested in the more wholesome titles and genres. Auto clicker games tend to follow the same formula. Spend a few dollars, click repeatedly for hours, and leave the game running in the background while it essentially plays itself with minimal player input. Infini Click shares that foundation but takes a 1000 games in one approach. While it remains an idler game for the most part, the variety of programs that you can switch between adds a layer of engagement that sets it apart from the typical experience. You start with simple clicking, progress to auto-clicking, and eventually find yourself juggling roles like a traffic violations officer, farm manager, and restaurant supplier, all while trying to pay off a massive debt to the Fund Corporation. If you're looking for a bit of stimulation along those lines with an idler game, Infini Click is surely worth checking out. I can tell that a lot of passion went into Journey of Realm, however I find that many Chinese games, including this one, often struggle with their UI elements. The gameplay itself was quite fun to play through, though a bit confusing at times. It essentially combines the Metroidvania style with turn-based RPG mechanics. My main issue lies with the pop-ups and the HUD, which is all very messy. While I found the visuals beautiful, it did have a bit too much bloom. I could see myself wanting to continue further just due to the sheer amount of build diversity and playstyles that it plans on showcasing with the full release. But until it gets the few modifications for the annoying UI elements, I do believe it's going to struggle. Since the days of EVE Online, Elite Dangerous, and No Man's Sky, the sci-fi exploration genre has slowly started to feel more and more bland. Newer titles like Starfield with its underwhelming space combat, Everspace 2, Homeworld 3, and others haven't done much to shake things up, as the genre feels more and more underwhelming. So when a new title like Jump Ship comes out of nowhere and genuinely impresses me, it does catch me off guard. With shipbuilding that allows you to build and repair your ship to fit your personal playstyle, combined with elements like exploration, scavenging, space combat, and mission-based gameplay, be that solo or in co-op, it brings together everything that I've been missing from the genre that makes it exciting again. It's not just spaceflight either, it's ground combat as well, blending elements from multiple titles like Void Crew. If you're into anything remotely sci-fi related and you've got 3 friends to join you, this one's definitely worth checking out.
Time to kick it into gear. Let's do this. Oh yeah, bring it on. Jam reporting in. Ready for the podcast.
Come on, buddy. Time to get to work.
Jupitar Junkworks. Check us out on Steam and wishlist today.
I'll say it again, the number of Tetris games breaking new ground in the gaming scene is incredible. Jupitar Junkworks takes a classic Tetris formula and adds objectives and story, making it even more engaging, tense, and difficult to put down. The game was so satisfying that I couldn't tear my eyes away from the screen due to the stimulating lights and effects. The levels are challenging, but not in the way you might expect. As the longer you play, the blocks drop faster, and your goal is to match colors and collect the required elements to clear the lines. Its well-designed mechanics, such as the railgun, allows you to shoot blocks deep into the stack, clearing lines that you couldn't reach due to a weird rectangle deck or simply because of a mistake. The game has climbed to the very top of my favorite puzzle games featuring Tetris. Seriously, give it a shot because it's got an amazing story, visuals, gameplay elements, and more. Ketamine was enjoyable, but not in the way one might expect from a game. It's a clicker game where you need to break keys in a satisfying atmosphere, hence the play on the word ketamine. It felt like it would work better as ambience for those with ADHD, thanks to the sounds of the mechanical keys clicking and cascading effects of them breaking and shifting around. The requirement to manually pick up all of the orbs and constantly to move your mouse around detracted from the entire experience. While I found it challenging to put the game down and wanted to keep playing, it would be much more improved if it leaned towards being an idler game that allows for static focus. A friend shared this sentiment as we both agreed that it's a great concept that would benefit from being designed as an idle game, or at the very least have the option for it in the future. Are you feeling nostalgic for computers in the 1990s? Well, Lan Party Adventure contains references and features that you may find satisfying. The demo gives a glimpse to its central concept: building computers, setting them up, troubleshooting with command prompts, and consulting guidebooks, all within the retro-inspired bedroom as you wait for your friends to call for the big LAN party. However, things take an unexpected turn when Pedro suddenly goes missing, transforming the game into a crime-filled mystery surrounding what happened to your friend. Using your knowledge with computers to help uncover the truth, I found it intriguing enough to want to know what the full release has in store. Would it feature classic internet forums and other long-forgotten elements to be used to help solve the mystery? It's unsure, but I loved all of the nods to the classic things like StarCraft, Doom, Quake, and more. I've never been a big fan of speedrunning or platformers, mainly because it often leads to a lot of frustration and anger due to their competitive nature. Leap Galaxy is one of the few exceptions that gets it right. I wanted to experience more levels and repeatedly aimed for higher scores. If you tend to shy away from platformers because of titles like VVVVVV, I highly recommend giving Leap Galaxy a chance because it offers a wonderfully challenging experience, not to mention a wholesome story of friendship. I don't often find myself drawn to visual novels, unless it's capable of captivating me with deep narrative, strong voice acting, or other elements that can hold my attention. Otherwise, I do tend to drift off and want to play something else. L'Hiver Smokes and Mirrors offered the former. It's a psychological horror short story with multiple endings based on your choices, following the call of a long-dead lover who summons you back to the place you once shared. The writing was brilliant and the story was even more gripping. You might just lose yourself in it. Lost and Found Co. is a game designed for wholesome gamers who enjoy interacting with a vibrant world filled with silly characters and engaging dialogue. Players embark on a quest to uncover hidden objects, much like Finding Waldo. You help a goddess regain her powers to help her gain her original form instead of remaining in her tiny baby state. Card battlers and dungeon crawlers typically exhibit a greater complexity, but Lost Altar combines elements from both genres in an innovative way. In this game, a deck of cards and their suits serve as weapons, healing items, and enemies. Diamonds are weapons, and players must play them in descending order. For example, if you drew a king, then you would need to follow up by playing another king or a queen or a lower card when facing enemies, then continue with a lower card until it's reset with a stronger weapon. This concept is interesting by interweaving dungeon crawling elements and self-imposed challenges to create a unique and engaging experience. If you enjoy card games, Lost Altar is certainly worth checking out. Despite its concepts, the game felt somewhat lacking in certain areas, but hopefully this is just due to it being a demo and is not an indication of a lack of ideas.
A lonely bonfire in the middle of the unknown. We need a cozy place for our folk to rest in, embracing an ever-changing world, and many capable Jarls to build your story in these lost lands.
In Lost Lands, you'll experience slow, minimalistic gameplay. This city-building game focuses less on action and more on the gradual accumulation of resources and materials. As you progress, you'll expand your city into a mysterious fogged-out world filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. If you're into tender ambience and relaxed gameplay, it's something to consider. I had never heard of the board game called Ludo until I came across Ludaro, which is self-described as a Balatro-like blend incorporating roguelike gambling mechanics into a dice-based board game format. It's no surprise that many games are now trying to attempt to capitalize on the success of Balatro, and Ludaro certainly shows promise. The game was fun, intriguing, and challenging due to the randomness of each encounter and the pressure to navigate the board while avoiding setbacks, resets, and the dice turn limit, all while building combo points to meet your goals. However, Ludaro might be heading in the wrong direction. This is because I almost immediately discovered a way to break the game by duplicating elements to create an overpowered board. Even with a strong setup, the individual stages did not engage me. While you do have significant control over dice rolls and the ability to manipulate fate by stacking modifiers and earn bonuses before cashing out at the end, the overall moment-to-moment gameplay did not capture my interest for long. This could be a result of playing the demo, and I did like that the game incorporates some classic board game mechanics not often seen in modern designs, but something felt missing as much as I wanted to continue the gameplay loop. I love exploration games, and honestly, who doesn't? There's something deeply satisfying about being presented with a blank map, a goal, and tools, then setting out to uncover the unknown. Marking locations, piecing together clues, and eventually pinpointing the exact spot accurately delivers a uniquely rewarding sensation. In this game, you take on the role of a cartographer, creating the maps yourself. You'll position yourself using your surroundings, relying on your deductions to see what you can achieve with your strategies, or by using everything at your disposal to chart your way forward with the missions given to you as you progress. It's a very casual, charming, and ultimately rewarding experience that really got me excited. Master of Peace is a roguelike deck builder that does not use cards, but instead mercenary pieces you blend and merge together to create powerful traits and passives. Raising their stats, you fight through waves of outlaws looking to destroy the enemy base before having yours destroyed yourself. There wasn't a whole lot to the gameplay, but it was still interesting and easy to get into. I do wonder how the developers will handle the synergies between healers and damage stacking, because it did feel a tad bit overpowered. It felt like a shift in these abilities could help balance things out and make the gameplay feel less centered around just those strategies. I hope we get to see bigger fights and tougher challenges with the full release. It might just be me, but I feel like more games are beginning to move away from copying a genre's formula, opting instead to add in its own unique twists. Mechjestic is a great example, blending mech combat with deck building mechanics. You build the deck from parts and weapons used during battles. But instead of simply ending your turn or drawing new cards, you shuffle your deck by spending your life as a resource once you've run out of cards. Once your hand is empty, you can only draw one card per turn, making careful planning far more important than burning through your entire hand at once, unless you're willing to sacrifice your health to keep going. The only issue with this game was that it did start to feel a bit slower with how long each animation was taking.
Courage and truth. I will protect the citizens.
Metal Eden feels like a fusion of several gameplay styles, most notably Returnal and Doom blended into a high-quality boomer shooter. It features intense gory aesthetics with a protagonist built entirely from cybernetics, creating a strong visual and character identity. The only concern is getting used to the weapons, which forces you to swap frequently to adapt your playstyle depending on the enemies that you are facing. Still, it was a wild ride with a lot of potential. Mighty Miners is an action roguelike that combines mining mechanics with robots and energy management. Interestingly, it features no enemies. Your objective here is to navigate a confined space, digging up gems and coins to trade in for upgrades and also for energy. While I enjoyed the game, I also had some concerns because the slow build-up made it very hard to stay engaged long term. Although it's fun, it does take too long to get started. If you don't secure the gems within the first minute, you're effectively forced to forfeit, as there is no clear path to progress. I believe this issue could be resolved with some adjustments, such as tweaking the energy drain system or increasing the frequency of early gem deposits. This could create a more rewarding early game power spike, allowing players to build more momentum. Later on, the game could then introduce harder difficulties that maintain its level of early grinding for those who wish to invest more time into the drawn-out challenge. If you're a fan of tower defense games and deck builders, Mini Tank Mayhem might surprise you with this unique approach. Unlike other games that primarily focus on resource gathering or gaining experience from defeating enemies, this game seamlessly combines elements of traditional card deck builders. Each card represents either a tower or a spell, and you have a limited number of points to spend each turn, which can vary based on your specific builds. Strategically, towers can be destroyed during battles, either by your own actions or by enemies, adding an extra layer of depth to the gameplay. One significant issue is that there were many bugs preventing the deployment of turrets, which led to some frustrating failures.
Such a tiny nuisance. And don't come back.
I really want to highlight Mio Memories In Orbit despite my issues with it. Visually, the game is spectacular. It's clear a lot of passion and love went into the characters, the world design, gameplay elements, and even the boss fights. Not to mention the boss soundtracks. The problem, however, lies in the early game pacing, where you spend a lot of your time aimlessly walking without a map for save spots. It feels like there's only one save zone in the entire game, and to unlock more areas, you need to reach a secret room that activates an elevator unlock for easier traversal between the zones. Until then, you're forced to backtrack to 20 different rooms if you manage to make it through surprise ambushes you couldn't see just to get back to a boss, losing your essences for upgrades along the way, which was a grind that I personally never bothered with. It follows the themes of Hollow Knight, which is challenging, but in a more artificial way. Monument Valley is a series that I hadn't heard of until today, which is why I would consider it a hidden gem for anybody that finds themselves enamored with puzzle games. It's a casually bright and clever game, featuring mind-bending challenges and deeply atmospheric music that hovers around its multi-perspective level designs, gradually drawing you in. It encourages you to think through each puzzle while marveling on how seamlessly everything flows together. If you're feeling frustrated and need to unwind, this is definitely something worth checking out. Morbid Metal can be best described as a high-paced, stylistic hack-and-slash game that feels surprisingly similar to Warframe in a sci-fi sense, featuring action roguelike elements. Unlike many games that feel like a tedious grind, Morbid Metal keeps the gameplay fresh and engaging. The heavy metal soundtrack adds to the intensity of the mindless gameplay. Each level is filled with secrets, and fast-paced movement keeps you engaged as you aim for a higher combo rating. It's a shame that the demo was so short. It's a game that you cannot go wrong with. Moro's Protocol presents a modern take on the boomer shooter design, blending tight gameplay with roguelike mechanics. Although I encountered a few bugs that affected HUD and other aspects, I found the game compelling enough to stand out from the crowd. As you progress through the stages, you'll collect weapons, augmentations, and powerful synergies to defeat enemies in a gruesome hellscape. Your goal is to ultimately face the elite battles and eventually the final boss. The game offers plenty of diversity in terms of both melee and ranged weaponry, keeping you engaged throughout. Its unique design aesthetic sets it apart from traditional retro boomer shooters, adding more to its appeal. Morsels can be easily described as automacrops with a CRT screen effect with the plant's roles reversed. It is a fast-paced game that can be quite challenging to master because you can't just blast your way through every level. Instead, you need to be precise and accurate with your shots. The music is great, a real banger, and the overall style is sick as hell. However, I do wish the targeting and aiming mechanics were a bit more intuitive. It seems that getting up close and personal is the best way to ensure you hit your shots, even if it does mean a higher chance of failure. Finding quality platformers can be challenging since many follow the same frustrating and repetitive concepts. Often it's a test of your patience instead of offering unique gameplay or puzzles. That's where Motion Wreck stands out from the rest. It cleverly incorporates the power of time manipulation into the platforming genre. I found it to be exceptionally welcoming. Each room introduces a new way for you to use your power to solve the puzzles, striking the perfect balance between challenge and accessibility. This makes the game enjoyable for those who want to experience something fresh without dealing with unfair gameplay mechanics designed to frustrate players. Overall, I found Motion Wreck to be a wonderful experience that's worth your time. If you're looking for a hilarious and challenging game, then Multi-Ending Heroes is definitely one to consider. Each encounter offers multiple branching paths and solutions, making it as clever as it is chaotic. The pixel art is well done, and while the MS Paint style dialogue boxes may seem rough around the edges, it did add a quirky charm to the experience. In the game, you play as a priest tasked with caring for your employer, a pretentious warrior. Together, you embark on a quest to defeat the Dark Knight. With 50 possible endings, many of which are silly and others unfair, the game provides a surprising amount of depth and replayability. The time loop mechanic allows you to return to the beginning while saving your progress, which would otherwise make the game unnecessarily tedious. It's clear that this is a passion project, and that's what makes it well worth checking out. If you've been searching for an enjoyable card game, something simple and charming that focuses on pleasant battles and making friends in a vibrant world, look no further. Imagine reliving the joy of childhood, standing in the playground in 1998 with your friends, ready to battle with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon cards while trading them off in between. This is what My Card is Better Than Your Card is all about. It offers a week-long adventure filled with joy, providing various schedules to choose from as you create new cards, have fun, and appreciate the simple things in life. No anger or one-turn kills here, just positive vibes all around.
F-A-M-I-L-I-A-R, yeah, they know who we are, yeah, F-A-M-I-L-I-A-R, yeah, cause they know who we are. Mr. D took a spill, man, upon first look, the higher you climb, it's the harder you fall. They can't protect your rights if they don't exist at all. In the end, victory won. Get familiar with familiars, we get the job done. Yeah.
The trailer alone sold me on the concept of My Familiar, though I would argue it didn't fully do the game justice. I expected something more grounded in hip-hop through music, not through its aesthetics, though as an RPG, it was still spectacularly well done. The vibe was packed with animation and humor, and there was something genuinely well executed about the way that I could predict what was going to be said next, but not in a dull way. Whether through the involved turn-based combat with bonus damage or a more laid-back style of gameplay, it stood out as one of my favorites from this lineup. The story may have been a bit disjointed, but to hell with that. I want more of this game. It brings out the kind of unique RPG feels that you don't see often anymore, when so many of them all feel the same. Perhaps it was the Katamari-inspired designs of each captain, or how I used the cards to conquer each planet, executing combo effects with quirky gadgets and relics that carried through each encounter. Whatever it was, Negative Space stood out thanks to its relaxed, colorful, and upbeat take on the deck-building genre. It offered deep strategy and rewarding combo systems where stacking effects and timing your moves could lead to significant bonuses for every card played. Exploring a galaxy while building up a powerful crew has never felt this vibrant or clear. I'm looking forward to what the future holds for this little gem. I always get excited when a point-and-click game comes along that blends detective work with branching player choice endings similar to those found in games like Brock the Investigator. Neo Junk City offers that and more, a gripping story, a murder mystery, striking visuals, and retro-inspired gameplay centered around solving puzzles with a humorous twist. Not to mention the high-speed pursuits. The soundtrack was excellent, and while the duck and cover combat sections grew a bit repetitive, the rest of the experience kept me fully engaged until the end. I'm all in on this aesthetic. It's a great game all around that could fulfill my Sam and Max fix in a less witty way. Neoclassical Chromaticist is all about playing classically composed piano music to the style of Tetris, featuring beautiful music and a charming array of visual effects based on the colors that you match. These effects can transform the game board in various ways, such as flipping it upside down, inverting it, or rotating it sideways. While the gameplay is similar to Tetris, you unlock portions of the song that you've selected to play when you clear multiple lines. This concept has the potential to thrive within modding communities. Imagine Megalovania elements which could add a humorous meme-worthy aspect to the gameplay experience. I mentioned before that I've really been enjoying the resurgence of Tetris-based games over the past year, as there have been a lot of great concepts recently. Everyone loves a good action roguelike, but what do people love even more? Deep, endlessly customizable builds. Net Attack allows players to fine-tune their playstyles by modifying and equipping various nodes and effects as a hacker, resulting in a wild mix of powers, from high ping and low ping modifiers to rapid fire and massive AoE, all branching through the 3 core node types. I really enjoyed the demo, but I do hope that the full release brings more stages and additional content beyond this one central gimmick. As it currently stood, looping the same level with no scaling difficulty won't be enough to carry the whole game. When publishers and developers collaborate with a shared goal of honoring the fans, the results can be impressive, when the final product is both engaging and a genuine tribute to a retro series like Ninja Gaiden. Seeing its return is a welcome surprise. In terms of difficulty, that intense arcade style is noticeably turned down. The demo didn't quite reach the punishing levels of the earlier entries. Instead, the gameplay felt smooth and offered just enough challenge to be fun without becoming frustrating. With an excellent soundtrack, a wide variety of compelling mechanics through the many different elements and fluid controls, the game was an absolute joy to play through. A new entry into the series done right. No surprises here. No, I Am Not a Human is one of the more well-known horror games played by many popular YouTubers in the last year alone. It features a choice-driven story about staying inside, locking your doors, and only allowing humans to enter your house while ensuring you keep all of the other visitors out by deducing who is real and who isn't. The narrative is cruel, and the endings are largely depressing, and it effectively creates a heightened sense of pressure that maintains the thrill all the way through to the end. No matter what, you must survive. Heavy metal, gore, guts, and tower defense, that's what makes up Obliterator X. If you're into roguelike shoot-em-up gameplay with scavenging elements where you control automated drones to defend, search, and help through endless waves of enemies, the game offers a solid take on that concept. It's a shame that the demo only allowed for a single run before cutting you off. I would have loved to see what additional content future updates might bring. Although I haven't played the original off, I can understand why it resonates with so many players. Its unique exploration of morality in video games is something that few titles addressed at the time. The sudden release of the prologue caught me off guard, both positively and also negatively. For those following its development, you may know that the team enlisted a well-known name, Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale and also Deltarune, to help remix the soundtracks. Unfortunately, his signature style comes through a bit too strongly, altering several tracks, most notably Dodon's theme, in ways that do not match the original's tone. So far, the gameplay is solid, however the combat could use some refinement as it does feel bland and repetitive. Despite this, I enjoyed the experience until the abrupt shift in musical direction, which disrupted the engaging jazzy atmosphere, turning itself into an electro swing vibe at certain moments. I get that Toby was probably trying to have some fun with the remixes, but many believe he went too far and ruined many of the aspects. I'm curious to see what changes the developers will make moving forward and how the final project will take shape. After all, it is a great game that could become even better being remastered in the modern age. One Turn Kill is exactly what it sounds like. The game is a strategy puzzler where you build up your deck, push forward, and tackle each boss in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Style OTK boss rush. If you fail, you start over from the very beginning, unaware of how you've revived in your quest to reunite with your sister. Each run introduces harder stages, new enemies, and a strong desire to push forward to strive for victory. Regardless of how challenging or frustrating each run may be with modifiers and powers, the music and visuals help keep you invested for more. I'm not exactly sure what it was about Ooh. Perhaps it was the visuals, the aesthetics, or the music, but something about it invoked a feeling similar to playing Animal Well. The demo lasted only about 10 minutes, so there wasn't much to experience, but the engaging puzzles left me wanting more. This is strange to me because I once again do not find myself all that heavily invested with platformers, unless it just like this game has some unique appeal to it. The mechanics were clever, dropping a bomb to navigate through a Metroid-style world, solving puzzles and progressing further. This is a fantastic hidden gem that you do not want to miss out on. You play as a little girl named Mako, navigating through a yokai underworld filled with exploration and discovery. As a delivery girl, your goal is to find your way back home. If you take the time to understand the game mechanics, it can become quite the spectacle. However, if you prefer a more laid-back approach, the game does offer casual hack-and-slash style for most encounters. So get out there, craft your deliveries, and fulfill your duty in Outrider Mako to help her get back home. The game features a charming design and is brimming with personality, so long as you give it enough time to really start to shine through. We've recently seen a wave of Resident Evil and Silent Hill inspired games, but Phase Zero feels like the real deal, a genuine successor. It captures the essence of what made those games so iconic, blending classic tank controls with modern quality of life options. I haven't been this excited about a horror title in a long time. The limited ammo, the tense exploration, the grotesque zombies, and the eerie wall of arms are all brought to life through cinematic panning shots and richly detailed PlayStation 1 pixel-style environments. If you are a fan of classic survival horror, this is a game that you do not want to miss out on. The gameplay features inventory management, puzzle solving, and narrow hallways filled with zombies, all laced with surprising dark humor. Whether it's the banter between NPCs or the absurd and often foolish ways some of them meet their demise. It's atmospheric, nostalgic, and truly one of the best games in this genre if you're itching for some of the classics. I never played the original Pirates Outlaw, so I cannot make direct comparisons. From what I observed, the gameplay remains largely unchanged. Imagine a deck building game similar to Slay the Spire, but instead of progressing in a linear fashion, you can explore freely, moving in any direction. You can take on enemies and elites, visit events and taverns, and navigate procedurally generated seas until you either fail, run out of supplies, or successfully complete a run. It's a typical card game where you collect powerful cards, combine them using synergies and combos to help your character become a renowned pirate. This quest occurs in a world where a great wave has wiped out nearly all of society, leaving players to uphold their family's legacy for years to come. What I love most about action RPGs is the freedom to explore and make choices rather than following the game's handheld focus. Pixel Legend reminded me of a game like Darja's Dominion, but on a smaller scale designed for single player. The character design was a bit quirky, leaning towards a Michael Reeves Ding Ding plush vibe than a typical hero. I still enjoyed my experience because the game allowed me to explore without limitations. I could let enemies fight each other and steal their experience points, or spend hours grinding to gather gear, weapons, and materials. This classic style of progression really appeals to me. Even if it ultimately felt somewhat pointless, the time I spent playing left a lasting impression. Plus Ultra Legato excelled with its unique gameplay mechanics and comic book style visual aesthetics. The developers have dubbed it a Comicvania style, featuring stop motion style animations and fully dynamic gameplay that feels really good. The storytelling centers around Mesoamerican history, making it a captivating, real experience. It truly exceeds expectations with everything that it plans to offer with the full release. A well-rounded Metroidvania that felt like it was going places. Many seem to dislike Heart Machine Studios' shift in game design from hyperlight drifters and breakers to possessors. I don't know, I found it to be a beautifully designed atmospheric world with an engaging story. However, I can see the gameplay controls and platforming needing significant improvements, as it did feel quite janky. More specifically, I was often on the verge of putting my controller down in frustration because running and jumping onto walls was very stubborn. You cannot dodge while in the air to gain momentum, which means that you have to build up momentum before wall jumping on tiny platforms. This was quite annoying. The game has the potential for a great style and vibe featuring demons and corporate corruption. It just needs more refinement in its controls. It's still worth checking out if you're a fan of their previous works. Several anime-style boomer shooters have emerged, varying in quality and intensity. Among them is Project Amica, which stands out for being more subdued in comparison. The aesthetics truly catch the eye. The game blends fresh visuals with a nostalgic nod to the 90s, offering diverse weapons, cycling ammo drops, and satisfying melee executions. In this game, you play as Sid, a government android tasked with taking down an organization known as Sigma. The game allows you to explore different locations, unlock new abilities and weapons, and navigate an escalating level of danger. I love the additional visual aesthetic HUD for Sid. It felt like a great addition to really help the game pop out like Colt vs. Gal, just without being as vulgar. Another 2D platformer that caught my eye was Project Arrow, and I must admit that playing as a cat initially grabbed my attention, not to mention their Meow Song trailer. While the cat character was the gimmick that drew me in, I grew to enjoy using arrows and physics to solve the puzzles and to progress through the platforming sections. While I did experience a glitch that broke the game, despite that one hiccup, I expected the game to be rather dull, but to my surprise, it kept me engaged with clever designs, challenging puzzles, and excellent graphics and music design. Quadra Break expands everything you love about Tetris across multiple game modes and styles. Whether you're interested in competitive, cooperative, or casual play, there's something here for everybody. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, but builds on Tetris' appeal by adding new challenges for those seeking them. From the classic mode to Color Eliminator, you can enjoy solo or multiplayer experiences that capture your attention and keep you coming back daily. Whether you prefer fast-paced action or the slower, more thoughtful approach, Quadra Break satisfies the craving for puzzles and provides a delightful mental challenge. Raiders of Black Veil stands out as it has the potential to become a fantastic co-op ARPG for playing with friends and even alone. Although the demo was quite repetitive, requiring players to revisit the same stages repeatedly with different enemies and experiencing some latency issues when using skills for the first time, I saw a lot of interest in the gameplay. Players can choose from a selection of classes, navigate through the maps and stages while leveling up and defeating monsters. One of my favorite features was the option to jump straight into the endgame difficulties, where massive modifiers increase the chance of acquiring powerful legendary or mythic quality drops and relics. It plays slightly like a MOBA, but in a good way. If there's one thing that I dislike about randomize, it's having to reacquire every power and bonus element after completing a stage. This aspect really detracted from my experience. The game is charming and shows a lot of passion as an exploration puzzler, and I would love to dive deeper into the full release, although I still couldn't shake the frustration of having all of my powers removed each time that I unlocked a new stage. This design choice makes the progression feel unnecessarily repetitive, as I have to solve the same puzzles again to regain my abilities to make progression. If you're looking for a very casual and charming game featuring mice and exploration, it's definitely worth checking out, especially with the randomizer mode, as it was after all fun to play through. While it may seem like a strange concept to some, I'm quite familiar with the old and new style of roguelike rhythm gameplay showcased in Ratatan. It has the potential to be the successor to Patapon, a game released back in 2007 for the PlayStation Portable. Based on the demo alone, it does need a lot of work. The more I played it, the more I desperately wanted the game to work in a meaningful way. The music does get repetitive and the controls were very confusing at first, and the boss fights and battles can be frustratingly unclear. It was still a welcome return to a genre that has recently started to emerge again thanks to Japanese developers. The game takes a very casual approach to gameplay in the form of a marching band. You play the right tunes to control your Ratatan army and battle for success. The game had a lot of balancing issues and controls which hinder your ability to succeed. Despite those challenges, I chose to overlook them because I genuinely want to continue playing this game. So let's hope that the developers can iron out all of these issues because this was one hell of a trip. Rentlord captures the essence of balancing fun and management, combining elements of Balatro vibes with landlord simulation. The game is highly replayable and incredibly satisfying, offering chaotic gameplay, like with the farmland stacking build if you manage to secure it early on. This strategy allows you to utilize powerful synergies that continuously increase your rent each week, along with its multiplication modifiers. It's definitely worth sticking through the game until it really opens up. It's not complex and very easy to grasp, and hopefully with the full release, difficult to master. With its engaging sound effects and vibrant visuals, it creates a delightful experience for those who thrive on the ADHD gameplay. Take a classic memory matching game like Concentration and mix it with deck building mechanics, a touch of Balatro, and a bowl of cat memes, and what you get is Replicat, a surprisingly fun and strategic twist on memory gameplay. Each stage introduces new modifiers like shifting, less moves, less points, and obstacles as you try to hit a score threshold within a set number of turns. That's the gist of it. No deep complex layers, just a steadily escalating challenge built around simple, satisfying mechanics featuring a memorable list of cats. It's always wonderful to see indie developers reaching out and collaborating with each other, which the game has also done. I wouldn't be surprised if the full release of the game incorporated many cameo references to other cat games featured during Steam Next Fest. Rescue Quest falls in the middle for me because I can't quite decide if I liked or disliked it. It's an idler game with roguelike and tactical elements, but in its current state, it isn't easy to fully understand. Most of the skills and powers didn't have much impact, and summoning allies or using abilities in the correct order lacked intuitiveness. The tutorial also was not helpful. While the core gameplay was enjoyable, it needs much more work before it's ready for a full release. Fortunately, this is just a demo, so there's potential for more polish and clarity in the future versions. I enjoy games like this that are challenging to grasp initially and don't require much beyond your slow understanding of the strategy and party organization. Feeling similar to a game like Rungor, it might be worth checking out closer to its release date. Ritual RX is perfect for those who are craving a clone of Hotline Miami. With its immersive atmosphere, Miami beaches, violent gameplay, and heavy soundtrack, it delivers an intense atmosphere. The gameplay is all about speed, and the underlying story is engaging, albeit quite gory. Drawing on themes like sin and vengeance, the entire game appeals to players looking for a hefty dose of action and bloody chaos in short but exhilarating bursts. I thought Rusty Foodies would be another Tetris game, which has again been popping up quite often since 2025. What I found was a unique puzzle game where you must piece together Tetris-like blocks while avoiding overlaps with trash in order to meet the goals listed on the left side of the screen. These goals can include forming the right foods to create specific line combinations among other tasks. The one big hurdle is the controls taking some time to get used to and felt much better on a keyboard than it did controller. Once you do get the hang of it, the experience is well worth the effort. If you enjoy puzzlers or appreciate the cute pixel arcade designs and music that vibes well in unison, don't let this game slip under your radar because it's downright adorable. If you enjoy a laid-back, charming JRPG reminiscent of classic handheld titles complete with top-down hack-and-slash gameplay and optional co-op, then Shrine's Legacy is worth checking out. The story follows a familiar trope of an ancient evil returning to threaten the world, with the sole descendant of a powerful lineage standing in its way. I found myself unexpectedly drawn into its narrative and characters as you follow Rio and Reima on their journey across the world in search of gemstones needed to imbue the Sword of Shrines, the only weapon in the world that is capable of defeating Aklor. The game is surprisingly well made and designed, and I cannot wait to see where it goes with its full release.
Shroom and Gloom is a first-person roguelike double-deck builder. Use the Explore deck to navigate dungeons, modify your cards, and unearth new weapons. Switch to the combat deck to hack, slash, roast, and eat the strange creatures that stand in your way. Shroom and Gloom. Play the demo now and see how far your decks can take you.
Shroom and Gloom offered a fresh experience with its unique blend of first-person dungeon crawling and multi-deck building. The game features a variety of interesting mechanics, including managing your own deck with upgrades, healing, and alteration cards as you plan your following route for each encounter. While damage and healing cards are well represented, there is a noticeable lack of defensive options, which appears to be intentional. My main complaint would be the visual clarity of the game. It would benefit from a more stable user interface communicating enemy elements and incoming attacks, particularly during boss fights. Some enemies tend to blend into the background, making it very difficult to maintain situational awareness. More distinct character outlines or visual contrast would significantly improve this, and the ability to see everything when the screen is locked and not shaking. What is already present is impressive, showcasing a strong concept with an even stronger execution. If you're a fan of challenging and creative deck builders, Shroom and Gloom is worth checking out. Shuffle Farm combines elements of farming simulation with card-based roguelikes. You aim to create a thriving society of worshippers, agriculture, food supplies, and structures. As you expand your territory, you must strategically combine different elements to enhance your chances of long-term success. Placing cards in thoughtful combinations is crucial for progression. The longer you survive, the more challenging the game becomes. You must appease your god by carefully managing your cult, food production, and resource planning. As you do this, you earn currency to continue expanding and developing your farms. Although your hands can sometimes become cluttered, Shuffle Farm provides a relaxing and enjoyable way to spend a few hours. While the demo offered limited exploration, it demonstrated significant potential, and I'm excited to see what additional game modes and features will be included with the full release, outside of simply making a hot dog.
How about an upgrade for my boy over here? He's been working with nothing but kunai.
I got a couple options for you.
I knew you had it in you, kid.
With how busy this month has been for me with so many events and projects, Six Samurai was a refreshing diversion from the typical norms. It features high stakes, instant death, high octane, speedrun gameplay where you take on the role of a samurai apprentice finding himself knee-deep in a world of ronins. You'll help him slash, dodge, and combo his way through estates in seconds, aiming for a high score and looking good while doing it. That may deter some from the game, but it's worth a chance. There's an underlying story that you shouldn't overlook just because of the genre. If you love games like Hotline Miami or some lo-fi hip-hop vibes, then the game is definitely worth checking out. Unless you're not feeling up to taking the challenges of each stage, then that's understandable. While 6-Star Gate Stargazer isn't fully translated and sometimes feels a bit clunky, I still see real potential here. The gameplay avoids the convoluted and pointless mechanics of rhythm games. There is some challenge, but it doesn't strive to be overly difficult. Players hit the notes that come towards the center of the screen from the north, east, south, and west. The music is decent, however, I would love to see the Korean team enhance the sound effects to create a smoother and more immersive flow between the gameplay and the songs. As it stands, the gameplay is decent. While not particularly impressive, it is enough to make me want to return to it in the future, mainly because I love rhythm games and I love the music. Anime fans rejoice. It's no surprise that Solo Leveling Arise would eventually get its own mobile gacha spin-off, with One Punch Man and other series having done the same in recent years. For what it is, the gameplay felt solid, and of course, it wouldn't be one of the many others without the visual eye candy. The story appears to follow the manga, though it does jump around sporadically due to it being a demo rather than being a proper introduction, so it was hard to deduce what's happening. The multi-layered gacha systems are a concern, and could be a turnoff, but for those who enjoy these styles of mobile games, it's likely to win you over, at least until it doesn't. There's a surprising lack of high-octane games that throw you straight into the action the moment you load them up, but Speed Demons 2 delivers exactly that. It's all about speed, destruction, and energetic stylized racing, whether you're tackling the time trials, pursuits, escapes, or other modes coming with the full release. Despite being single-player only, I was absolutely hooked, tearing through the highways from multiple camera angles and chasing 3-star ratings to unlock many of the tougher arcade challenges. It's the perfect pick-up-and-play racer when you just want to unwind and go full throttle. What truly kept me locked in was the music. Strangely enough, I'm not usually into racing games, so that should say a lot. Spinny Dungeon can be described as a dungeon crawler inspired by Luck Be a Landlord. In this game, you add symbols to your slot machine, pull the lever, and hope to land right on the combinations to manage your health, food, mana, and enemies approaching from the right. It's funny because the concept is so simple, enhanced by unique elements that took a while to be fully implemented into a spin-off of a popular gambling game. The overall design is great because the game is not trying to be anything overly too complex.
I still remember that day, when I left you without a word. They say that one day, when they have learned everything, will rejoin their bodies. We'll meet again one day, one way or another.
While Star Overdrive was first released on the Nintendo Switch, it's made its way to Steam. Honestly, it feels like a game that's better suited for the Steam Deck. Think Breath of the Wild if Breath of the Wild were stripped down to just a Gerudo desert, with most of your time spent surfing the dunes on a hoverboard and spamming tricks. Whether you're playing it on a Switch or a Steam Deck, it's not a bad game to experience. It's just lacking that satisfying physicality in its gameplay to immerse you. As a portable title, it holds up well enough, but for a more stationary PC-based experience, it doesn't quite hit the mark. After observing how much Sony seems to enjoy provoking players with their constant desire to incorporate elements into published games, I had some reservations about what Stellar Blade would be like once it was playable, though I found that the gameplay was very much in line with what I would expect from a Korean developer funded by Sony. The best way to describe it is to imagine a blend of Final Fantasy, Nier Automata, and Devil May Cry, but with a more stylistic approach and an abundance of quick-time events and challenging boss fights. While I did find the game to be quite good and of a high quality, as long as Sony sticks to their corner and leaves players to enjoy the experience without the same issues seen in Helldiver 2, I can only see this game succeeding. The gameplay was solid and visually spectacular, beyond just the overly sexualized portrayal of the female protagonist, as seen in the less compelling entry, Vindictus. Not too excited about the price, but that will steadily become more problematic as the years go by.
Trick 9. A bullet heaven fever dream where every shot drops to the beat. Oh, you won't roll solo. Strick, he's our frontman. We don't talk about Proco. My emotional sport avalanche. Sunny's headbanging through the grind. Me? I'm the pack rat. Strick 9. Cute rats. Killer tunes. Hellish world.
While the concept of Strict 9 is awesome for a rhythm game, the gameplay left me wanting more. It's a top-down rhythm-based bullet hell drawing comparisons to titles like Metal Hellsinger with a fantastic heavy metal vibe, but the demo suffered from a repetitive gameplay loop. With the full release planned for 2026, there's hope for expanded mechanics before it's available. I think a refined system and a shift towards a more open, varied structure would benefit it more. In its current state, it has the potential to evolve into a standout action roguelike, but as it stands, I struggle to stay engaged beyond the first stage despite my interests. If you're interested in Lovecraftian themes combined with basic simulator gameplay, then Sunken Engine is definitely a game worth checking out. The story is quite simple. Your father has been sealed away by an ancient curse related to a mysterious book that has somehow found its way to you, who is next in line to confront its dark legacy. Taking over the family workshop that specializes in cleaning and repairing vessels, you are tasked to find a way to stop this horror once and for all. You'll need to clean vessels, repair damaged boards, sell your findings, and stock up on supplies, all while remaining alert to the misleading whispers and disturbances that plague you each night. It felt like it took some inspiration from Dredge with its visual style for each character and its storytelling. Tamashika features intense flashing lights and fast-paced psychedelic visuals that may trigger seizures in individuals sensitive to epilepsy. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Tamashika is all about precision, accuracy, banger soundtracks, and a highly replayable gameplay loop. You have but one goal: go fast. Deflect bullets, shoot enemies, engage in knife fights, and get lost in a psychedelic loop that's hard to break away from. These intense gameplay mechanics keep evolving, becoming both satisfyingly engaging and also frustrating. You're bound to get lost in the high-speed visual spectacles. At first, Terratech didn't seem very interesting because the build-up was so slow. Once I delved into the heart of the game as an action roguelike, I realized that it was one of the best experiences in the genre that I could realistically think of. Gone are the days of sitting idle and playing the exact same builds in the exact same way while being surrounded by a massive horde. You have complete creative control over your vehicle's design and weaponry. Each level and kill comes with new parts, which comes with infinite possibilities, faster movement, wider reach, and so much more. It takes some time to build up at that point, but once you do, it's incredibly fun.
Remember that time I found a box that had a key? I started with nothing. Before long, it was like a flood, lapping at my elbows. Only one way out, it seemed.
That Time I Found a Box is a uniquely surreal card game. Although it can be initially confusing and requires about an hour of experimentation to fully grasp its mechanics, it gradually does reveal its charm. As you navigate its learning curves, the experience echoes the chaos of Balatro, both through its gameplay and the whispers of the developer himself.
It was pretty fun. I played it until I died.
It incorporates narrative elements reminiscent of Bennett Foddy, who playfully taunts you with skill issue remarks after each setback, bragging about getting further than you. The objective of the game is to merge cards to create a larger deck, which grants you more power and strengthens your other cards as you confront 3 kings or queens, who you aim to turn against one another. Playing a card consumes its effect, meaning that it must be merged, mirrored, or combined with another card's power to remain usable for future draws. The gameplay leads to crafting a deck built around draw cards, filter cards, and more, allowing you to keep drawing, merging, and attacking all in a single turn. The experience feels very chaotic and genuinely challenging when striving for a one-turn kill. The longer you hesitate, the closer you come to being defeated yourself. I was never successful with most of my runs, because it's a game that I feel like I need to go back to, all because of those taunting whispers.
Flame under the rag until it lights. This thing could really take me back further.
You've got to break the cycle! I can't...
And something came back with him. A pulp adventure thriller. Wishlist. If you dare.
It's no surprise really, The Drifter has been one of the more talked about niche games leading up to Steam Next Fest, and it's easy to see why. It's one of the best thriller mystery point-and-click games that I've had the privilege of playing since Minds Beneath Us. The voice acting, the discovery of hidden interactions, the deep storytelling built around the loop of death and time travel to the moments leading up to it were fascinating. The short length of the demo left a gaping feeling in my chest and had me eager to continue the story. If you're looking for a story-rich experience that not only feels fantastic but delivers with solid gameplay, then do not overlook this title. It's sure to win you over in no time. I have never wanted to see a single-player game transformed into a couch co-op experience more than with the Lonesome Guild. Published by Don't Nod, the creators of Life is Strange, I found it hard to put this game down. The charming characters, the meaningful relationships, engaging story, and well-designed gameplay mechanics were all very impressive. The game has great potential for co-op play, although it's still focused on a single-player experience, which does feel counterintuitive, considering the fact that players can take control of multiple characters and fight together. The world is enveloped in a dangerous miasma that spreads intense despair and loneliness. Your goal is to find the most brilliant scholar in all of Aether to gain the knowledge needed to overcome this challenge along with Da Vinci and her friends. Silly humor, somewhat challenging platforming, and a collaboration with indie developers are what I love to see the most. These collaborations help bring more visibility to both games through cameo crossovers. It demonstrates how indie developers are working hard to support each other's success, not just their own. If either one does achieve success, it's usually a win for both. In Fletcher's Quest, you find yourself trapped in the mind of the game developer. The game begins with a comedic entry from a psychologist's office highlighting the ineffectiveness of some mental health professionals, who often seem indifferent to their patients. You're then sent into the developer's mind, fully nude and exposed, complete with a third leg. It's a unique experience that you need to play for yourself to truly appreciate what the game has to offer. Ultimately, it tells the story of indie developers and the anxieties that come with it and the journey. I was quite impressed, and it also gave me a few chuckles. The Royal Writ is an engaging permadeath deck builder, in which you play as a king dispatching units via letters to quell the unrest across the kingdom. To succeed, you must assemble a diverse team of modifiers and multipliers using gambling mechanics that allow you to tilt the odds in your favor slightly. The goal is to earn enough points within the strict time limits of each encounter's lane. Your units will rush towards the end of the board each turn, and are removed from the battle when they hit the ends. This will steadily decrease your damage output for future encounters. Quick one-shot builds with strong combinations are the more effective strategy. You'll need to plan your moves carefully, deploying shields, protection, and game-altering letters that can turn the tides of battle back in your favor. The game's cartoonish art style adds a whole lot of charm and touch, enhancing its personality and making it for a delightfully playful experience. The solitary existence of a little universe is a choice-driven visual novel with a dark and foreboding atmosphere. You play as a guide for a young girl who is lost in a desolate desert. The world around you is metallic, cold, and fragmented, and both you and the girl lack any memories of your past. Your choices will shape the many different paths through the flashes and thoughts and surreal imagery, all of which seem to threaten her, even as you strive to protect her. Will you uncover the truth of this world, or will you succumb to the forces that work against you? The outcome remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: she needs you, and you need her dead or alive.
You like games, don't you? Let's play a game together. Go ahead, give it a try. See? It's not as scary at all. Now you can continue with my power.
While Them is just a brief demo with limited content to explore, it captured my attention and left me wanting more. This psychological horror experience combines 2D platforming and shifts in first-person perspective, allowing players to navigate between and within a video game world as a child tries to escape from a terrifying nightmare. You must switch between realities to assist a mysterious entity trapped behind a door who claims he only wants his freedom, and it falls upon you to help him achieve that, regardless of your opinion. There Are No Orcs is a real-time tower defense city builder, part of a growing subgenre that I'm glad to see gaining traction since the last Steam Next Fest. There's been a steady rise in simple, well-designed pixelated auto-battlers that still manage to offer real challenge in resource management and troop deployment. Whether you're fending off waves of enemies or, in this case, attacking enemy towers with an ultimate goal of destroying their hellspawn portal, the core gameplay remains engaging. The game features a variety of rules, chain effects, and modifiers that'll help you unlock higher difficulties. While there isn't excessive complexity, each victory rewards you with gear and materials that can be used to equip your leaders, each providing unique powers and also more effects. I encountered a noticeable drop in difficulty after the challenging first level. Every subsequent attempt felt far too easy once I figured out the basic strategy. Tuning the difficulty curve could greatly enhance the experience and make it more rewarding. For example, the brutal difficulty unintentionally makes the game so much more easier due to the massively beneficial modifiers for the player, without any negatives to increase the challenge. I do hope that it gets the changes that it needs, otherwise it will become a mediocre game that serves no purpose. After playing through so many long sessions of frustrating games, I was relieved to find something that was there to calm me down. Threadbound turned out to be quite the mental reset, a real cog turner in a world where you create your own laws of physics to float, fly, boost, and solve puzzles. I do think that it could use a bit more in the ways of tutorials beyond the basic X and Y axis explanations, which explains how things attract and repel each other. I ended up playing for an hour straight before snapping out of my trance-like stupor and remembering I still had more games to get through. As much as the music and atmosphere begged me to stay, I had to force myself to step away, proving how something so simple can be so fun and engaging. So if you're into puzzlers, it's definitely worth checking out when you have some time or if you're interested. It's easy to look at Tree Wishes and initially think it's just another she's actually an immortal 9,000-year-old goddess lolly-style visual novel that is edgy, weird, or borderline inappropriate. To my surprise, it turned out to be incredibly adorable and wholesome. The game combines elements of Nichijou-style comedy, wacky adventures, and engaging dialogue, creating a choose-your-own-adventure experience with 12 different endings for the 3 best friends known as the Lily Pads. Additionally, there are interactive scenes where you can earn rewards for petting the girls at specific moments or simply whenever you feel like it, which is certainly a fantastic feature. The introduction story-wise didn't make a whole lot of sense, feeling a little bit creepy if I'm being honest, but putting that whole thing aside, this visual novel was a refreshing change of pace. Out of all of the desktop idler games that I've seen from the last Steam Next Fest video up until now, none have come close to what Tiny Monster Haven has on display. It's a blend of Pokemon, farming simulators, and minigames with the unique ability to place your creatures anywhere on your computer screen, no matter where your game is. Whether you're working or browsing the internet, you can bring them along to keep you company, pet them, feed them, level them up, and battle with them. I'm hoping to see even more features added throughout its development because it's one desktop idler that could really stand out.
Can I just say how very happy I am to finally have you with us?
As a fan of Tormented Souls, I'm excited to see the sequel despite its shortcomings. It's a horror game inspired by Silent Hill. I have always viewed Caroline as a model that could easily fit within the Overwatch hub community, where she could get jumped by a massive werewolf at any moment. That's really the only flaw, a distasteful model pushed even further when you remember the original game had her massive tits hanging out with the very opening scene with no warnings whatsoever. Additionally, there are some general optimization issues such as the inability to disable certain features like ray tracing. Despite this, I really like the direction the series is taking it with the sequel. It's not a jump scare game, it's more atmospheric and it does it very well. If you can overlook the model designs, it's a great entry for those looking for a Silent Hill fix. Minimalistic indie games are often overlooked because it might not seem like it offers much at first glance. However, the games can be surprisingly satisfying to play with strong replay value even if they are somewhat repetitive. One such game is Trainantic, a procedurally generated minimalistic train builder centered around a world that remains largely mysterious, leaving you stuck in a time loop. Each time you run out of fuel, your train explodes, and you start over from the very beginning, but with increased strength. Your objective is to expand your train, collect materials, unlock upgrades, and advance further with each run. While the earlier stages of the game are slow and present the same basic elements for about an hour, the gradual progression, including the unlocking of new tram cars, weapons, and upgrades, keeps players engaged and eager to discover what awaits them at the very end of their journey. Puzzles come in all various shapes, sizes, styles, and formats. Trifolium offers a unique approach to puzzle solving by featuring a giraffe with an exceptionally long neck. The gameplay mechanics allow you to move throughout different layers and levels of puzzles at varying speeds, as you journey from the starting line to the finish. Along the way, you'll complete puzzles while navigating pathways, which require careful consideration to avoid issues when you do some backtracking. With varying elevations and the back of your neck acting as a platform, along with engaging in-game elements, players that enjoy puzzle games are sure to have a lot of fun. I've known about and played Unbeatable multiple times in the past, specifically the white label free edition that was available on itch.io and Steam back in 2021. At the time, it didn't really fully click with me, mainly because one feature, the constantly moving screen. I always wanted a more stable and less visual experience, and the note syncing across tracks wasn't as tight as I had hoped. I was pleased to see that the recent Steam demo introduced new elements and a deeper story mode. It's clear that the game has come a long way then, both visually and through its gameplay, and through the raw humor and emotion. If you're not fully sold on the idea of a story-driven rhythm game or standard arcade-style games, it's worth checking out the free episode to see if it piques your interest. The concepts of playing as a villain in a roguelike is still quite unexplored. Unbound Eternity takes that leap. Instead of stepping into the shoes of a hero, you're thrown into the fray as a villain, aiming to conquer the kingdom one town at a time. Unlike traditional deck builders that let you freely customize builds and shift strategies, this game introduces multiple layers of building. Your deck is assembled into tiles which rotate randomly over time. That, layered with the runic tiles that point in random directions, makes it feel like the game's biggest drawback. The lack of control made the experience feel more like it was gambling than putting together a formulated strategy playstyle. It was still a neat approach for those who wish for something a bit different and less controllable. Under the Island is a captivating game reminiscent of the more recent Zelda titles, featuring the 1990s aesthetics. In this adventure, you follow Nia as she strives to save her new hometown and friends from an impending disaster. Her island home is not what it seems. It harbors the remnants of an ancient civilization that holds the last hope for life on the planet. The island itself is on the verge of sinking into the ocean, and to prevent this catastrophe, Nia must locate the 4 gears of power scattered throughout the land. Without these gears, all hope is lost, as the defense systems have been activated, sealing everybody off from the outside world. The game features a variety of gameplay elements, not to mention grass cutting, enemy slaying, puzzle solving, and a wide range of weapons, gadgets, and powers to assist you in navigating through each zone and facing boss encounters. This game is definitely worth checking out for any fans of the Zelda series. I had a lot of fun with it. I really liked the effort that was being put into this game, and I think you will too. I had never heard of the previous game, Undermine, although it is a relatively popular game within its niche genre. Undermine 2 is a dungeon crawler action roguelike that offers solo and co-op gameplay. In this game, you navigate the depths of a mine in search of rewards while overcoming various challenges. At first, I found it challenging to get into the game and to fully enjoy the playable characters. As I became more accustomed to the game, I realized that the larger enemies appeared too early for new players. While battling these enemies was fun and frustrating, rebalancing the game could significantly enhance the overall initial experience. You're gonna find treasures, battle enemies, unlock relics and powers as you delve deeper underground. Unpetrified was a delightful walking simulator that highlights the beauty and coziness of nature without feeling boring or unappealing. It was a casual puzzle-solving experience set in one of the coziest and most wholesome environments I've encountered recently. The design is simple, and it lacks a voice narration or intrusive UI elements, which helps maintain your immersion. The game takes a charming approach to a light adventure, allowing players to meet adorable animals while working to help restore the spirits of nature, one tiny friend at a time.
In his cage, you're gonna get us out of here.
For a fast-paced shooter developed by a solo developer, Void Breakers stands out from the typical gameplay standards. The game features roguelike elements, gun customization, and fully destructible buildings and environments that you navigate through to survive and grow stronger over time. I did have some concerns about the gameplay, particularly regarding movement and recoil. However, given that this is a solo developed game, I can overlook these issues. With time, it has the potential to become a very solid solo FPS that can keep players engaged for hours on end, all while offering an intriguing and mysterious story hidden beneath the complex.
Use words to fight and unleash custom attacks in this super anime RPG. Befriend your rivals to earn pep-ups and get special abilities. Make friends and enemies in a tale of mystery, betrayal, redemption of the Wanderstar map. Tune in to find out.
While I may not be a huge fan of Dragon Ball, it's clear that Wanderstars draws heavy inspiration from it. In this turn-based linear RPG, it has a unique style and shading reminiscent of the original Dragon Ball series. From the character designs and expressions to the storytelling and the combo-based fusions of words to create powerful skills, it's refreshing to see passionate developers still striving to invoke the nostalgic feelings that classic anime titles could inspire, while also adding in their own twists. The story did not resonate with me, as it was the visual cutscenes and animations that kept me engaged. Overall, I found it to be quite the captivating game, well worth checking out for any enthusiastic Dragon Ball fans.
The artifact is getting away.
Into the fray.
Improvise. Use your turrets.
Stealing their stuff.
Hell, use their turrets. Because the reach gives.
Resources in. Coming in hot.
And the reach takes.
Damage! Major damage!
My artifact.
It's gonna be one hell of a story.
The best way to explain Wildgate is by comparing it to an older game called Guns of Icarus Online. The features are nearly identical, with a few additional elements and personal weaponry available while exploring deep space with PvPvE missions. Here you will collect artifacts and battle other players. Your objective as a team is to pilot a ship, repair it, put out fires, and fire turrets, while also scavenging and exploring for materials. You can also board enemy ships to steal their materials and take down enemy players in fast-paced first-person shooter style. The matchmaking did feel imbalanced, often pairing new players with those who are level 10 and above. This is the common issue with many competitive games. It's the type of game that needs a well-coordinated team of players or friends to do well in.
He is our host. We live inside a virus-spreading, helping guide, placing shapes to spread infection. Strategize with your direction. And our host is under threat. A virus does what it does best. Survival is our prime objective. Send the brain a new directive. Underneath, we're still the same. We feel the pain of others' shame. And sometimes we must learn to be the monster that's inside of me.
Finally, a roguelike deck builder that isn't just about building a deck. It's a character builder that mutates the character as you play to destroy them from within. In this game, you follow Winnie the Pooh on a new adventure throughout the forest, while taking on the role of a virus that reshapes him from within while defeating anybody who tries to stop you from mutating him any further. Once you run out of virus blocks to place, you enter an encounter. After navigating through these encounters, you consume each of Winnie's friends, gradually transforming him into a perfect weapon of both discomfort and pleasure. This was a bold and gruesome choice in reshaping the design of roguelikes. It's grotesque and highly engaging despite the simplicity. If you're searching for a charming shop simulator, Witchy Business might be the perfect fit for you. The game involves a daily routine of taking customer orders, managing resources, and incorporating light farming mechanics, all while keeping your shop tidy and maintaining a positive reputation as the difficulty does increase. You'll fend off thieves, assist customers in need, and earn money and enjoy a relaxed journey in this delightful casual experience. While I appreciate what the game has offered, a more comprehensive tutorial would have provided a much more substantial introduction instead of dropping the player into the role haphazardly.
Your squad has failed the objective. They are humans, after all. All casualties are deemed acceptable, as long as the objective is successful. I don't want to play like this.
Xenopurge puts you in command of a tactical team in an auto-battling RTS, where you lead squads into slowly infested facilities to confront the horrors of the alien race. The weight of your decisions comes true to the voices of your units, giving every command a sense of consequence. While it includes roguelike elements and might look complex at first glance, the core gameplay is rather simple. You issue a command, your team carries it out, even if it means their death. You'll recover intel, escort VIPs, gear them up, and level their stats to help them wipe out the Xeno hives, and try to keep your squad alive, if you can. It really was quite the thrill. This game is more of a bias and may not be impressive to some people, but if you're heavily invested in games like RuneScape, particularly old school RuneScape, you might really enjoy Yolen if it gets more content with the full release. I say this because it is a 99 crafting idler. One of the game's biggest issues is that players can easily cheat engine and speed up the game times 500, which undermines the time sync purpose of the entire game. I like the concept, considering my obsession with playing RuneScape for 14 hours a day over the last 20 years, both idly and actively, but without a meaningful endgame and proper anti-cheating measures, the game is likely to fall flat. I hope more content is added in the future because it's not terrible, it's just a huge waste of our time. And that concludes the list for the Summer Steam Next Fest of 2025. While I could have included more games, I was limited by time and many other unfortunate obligations, and with that, I do apologize. It's possible that I overlooked some titles along the way. My selection process is not based on popularity. Instead, I like to focus on highlighting games that are fun, interesting, and offer something special. If a game looks like it's going to be a rush release or a cash grab, I just don't see its value. So if your favorite game is not on this list, or you are hoping to see a specific title covered, there is a very high chance that I did play it, but please leave it in the comments below, because there's still a chance that I might have missed it. If you're ever looking for something indie and hidden, check out our description box below. That said, if you're ever looking for more suggestions or trying to find something specific, by all means, reach out or browse to our channel. You have no idea how much it would make my day to help you find the right game for you. We offer 3 review games every single week and have a good understanding of the various genres that are released constantly, and genuinely want others to experience the same joy that we do within the gaming world. So until next time, I hope to have provided more insights on the many great titles, and I hope to see you around during many future Steam Next Fests and reviews throughout the future.